Nick, you know why you're able to be on this podcast this week? Because the fine folks at Squarespace are bringing it right to you personally. Did you know Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website, like videogamebaby.net, if you wanted to have that, or your online store so you can make t-shirts. For a free trial and 10% off, Nick, you can visit squarespace.com/idlethumbs and enter the offer code thumbs at checkout. Just remember, a better web starts with your website.
I'll remember, Sean.
All right. Remember me.
Never forget, Nick.
Avenge me on this
Avenge me.
podcast. Let's fucking do this. Let's nail this thing to the motherfucking wall. I'm not gonna be here. I'm not gonna be here. You gotta do well. You gotta bring. All right. A little less of that.
New York City. Why don't they make commercials like that anymore?
Like the Pace Picante song.
New York City? You guys gonna talk about Mario Kart?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yes.
I haven't played it.
I want to be on the podcast. It's gonna be a good one.
It is June 4th, 2014.
This is Idle Thumbs 161. I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
And I'm Nick Brecken.
Welcome, everyone.
I feel so welcome. Nick, welcome.
Thank you.
Chris,
Jake,
welcome.
welcome.
Oh, I'm welcome. I'm
Nick.
always welcome.
Welcome.
You can't welcome yourself. It's not how welcoming works.
You can't tell me what to do. You're welcome. Thank you.
Are we in the podcast now?
Yeah. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
Chris, you have to laugh now.
Oh, thanks, Chris. I guess. We're not in the podcast.
Yes, we are.
No. I don't want to be in it. I guess I can be. Video games.
Yeah, have you heard about those? They got them this week.
Yes.
The only thing I care about
Is Mario
is
Kart
Mario
8.
Kart. It's only I care about
let's
Luigi.
drill this down. Right.
Yes,
No, okay.
gets
The only thing
there.
you care about is not Mario Kart. It is not Luigi. It is GIFs of Luigi in Mario Kart.
Is GIFs of Luigi staring at other characters in Mario Kart. That's all I care about right at this particular moment in time.
So
That's all I could care about Mario Kart 8. I would like to play Mario Kart 8, but presently the only thing I care about is GIFs of Luigi.
So those GIFs. I love the GIFs so
What do you
much.
say about them?
I didn't know what this was. I knew that there was a new Mario Kart coming out. I didn't really know anything about it, and then suddenly, like, just
Well, it was weird because there was the
out of
one day where it
nowhere.
was just the one
The
GIF.
GIF of
There was a single
Waluigi
GIF.
exploding,
Right.
and then the camera
And so-
pans over to
right.
see Luigi just like fucking staring him down.
And I personally assumed that was a
cinematic.
one-off.
Yeah.
That it was a
I thought
cinematic,
it was from a
that it
trailer or
was
something.
maybe just like one of 30 animations that might play or something. You know what I mean? Like I just assumed,
What you didn't know is that's just
that's
what
just the
that game is.
That's a game that you play.
Yeah, I saw that GIF and
And
I
it
was
happens
like,
over
what
and
was that? That was crazy. And then another one came out. I was
What a
like, okay,
coincidence.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
This has got to be what the game is.
Yeah.
I have to buy Mario Kart 8 now. So I did, and I played it all of last night. And
Is it just full of sassy faces? Like what is the?
that's a replay mode, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do you notice it when you're playing though? I don't want to hear about the game. I just want to hear about the.
So okay, I'll go back to actually talking about Mario Kart in a
Fine.
second. But suffice to say, it has a replay mode. It's actually it has a really like heavily ingrained replay mode. Like they didn't I didn't read any previews about this, so I don't know what they talked about. But the replays are like they're everywhere. At the end of a race, in previous Mario Kart games, it would just show your guy running around the track winning, and it still does that for a little bit. But then you hit A, and the first thing at the top is watch replay, and then the next thing, if you're in Grand Prix mode, is go to next mode. But the replay mode, you have like slight ability to tweak the camera around. You can hit a trigger at any point, and it goes to slow mo, which is why those GIFs have appeared. I don't think that the replay mode looks quite as like cinematically evocative as these GIFs, because most of the GIFs, I think, are people recording the screen with their cell phone,
recompositing,
which is where like you'll get like why there's like the handheld and the slight overexposure.
Yep.
But you notice all of that stuff in the GIFs or in the GIFs. You see in the GIFs. So you notice it in the replay where you're playing, and it's not just a full replay. It's an actual edited highlight reel where it tries to shoot intelligently what's happening. It tries to only show you your big moments. So you'll play a Grand Prix race, but it doesn't only show the good stuff. It shows anything notable. So if you had a really shitty race, you just get a montage of you just getting fucking wrecked.
By Luigi, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully entirely
Everyone
by
has
Luigi.
sort of like happy faces, smug faces and stuff, but Luigi has that fucking death stare. So whenever Luigi does anything, he does just go, "You son of a bitch," when he drives by.
I like that Luigi is the focal point of this meme that has cropped up.
It feels like it's like
because it's like
the Year of Luigi is over,
after the Year
and
of
now
Luigi.
like Quentin Tarantino
It's the
is
hangover.
directing the Luigi
Yes.
replays.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's just Luigi has a fucking list
say
that has
my year's
every
over?
character ever made.
say when my year is over.
Yeah, well, it's just the Year of Luigi is not over. The Year of Luigi has just
It's-
begun.
yeah,
but this is the Year of
exactly.
Luigi on his terms.
Yeah,
This is
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Luigi's Year of Luigi,
Yep.
where he will murder your fucking ass forever.
The thing that was crazy about it to me, and this isn't intrinsic to replay mode, but it definitely is highlighted by replay mode, is you play a game like, so I haven't played Mario Kart 8, but I've played basically every other Mario Kart game that exists, and I assume this one is not like a complete reinvention of Mario Kart.
No,
right?
it's not. It's
So like basically in a Mario Kart game, you're still doing the same stuff that you've been doing in Mario Kart games like since the SNES, essentially, right? Like there's
Right.
more stuff in it.
You drive,
But,
you
like,
pick up stuff, you throw them at people.
Like the genre has not really changed all that much relative to some genres. But now it's just all of those things are literalized into this like incredibly representational, super high fidelity thing where you actually see a character like do a wind up and then pitch a shell
Right.
and it flies through the air and has collision.
But, like, that's
and,
also-
like, a physics explosion.
That's enough even for like a current gen game, but then they also decide to have that character's like eyes move to you first, then their head slowly turns to you, and they make a face that encapsulates their feelings about how they fucking wrecked you. And you can look at it in slow motion. Like it's just oh.
It's incredible.
Yeah. It's stupid, but it's so
such
good.
That's such a good usage of like modern computing capabilities, like modern real-time capabilities of like video game hardware. That's such a great place to put those resources.
Yeah, it's
if you're making a fairly simple game.
it's good for the stupid novelty value, and it's also like, well, it's all novel, but like when you get to the end of the Grand Prix race, I think that it shows your replays going back through all of the races on that circuit. That can't be, because it doesn't have those courses loaded. It just feels like that, I guess. But it might only be at, I don't know, the replay thing. They cared.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. I don't know.
I presumably like there's no actual connectivity or anything with that because
It has online multiplayer as well.
Okay, because the thing that would
I don't
be
think I don't
amazing
think
about
I don't know
this
if you can
is
upload
if
it
you
to
could
YouTube.
share the. I mean, Nintendo would be the last company that would.
I haven't
do
gotten
that.
into it at all yet, but I know that the replays. The other thing that I think
If this game could just spit out GIFs, it would be unstoppable.
The funny thing is though, like
It has-
doesn't,
there is
it
an editor,
clearly
though.
doesn't really matter now. It's so weird that like
Well,
right, you can
I
just
think it
vine it and you're
yeah,
good.
it's so
true.
crazy.
I mean,
because like
that's
that
true.
seemed like to be the focus like 3 or 4 years ago. Everyone's like, oh, can you output your video to the web or whatever? And now it's just
But now it's like
completely
my-
subverted by actual
by
like,
having a
yeah.
huge TV which doesn't have a flickery refresh rate like a CRT, and by having a smartphone that can capture it at a reasonable exposure level, you can basically get the point across.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
But yeah, I know like they call like there's always sort of been the conceit that Lakitu is helping you and also filming it like he does in all
Oh, right.
Mario games. But they claim in this that it's on MKTV, which is Mario Kart TV, and that's also what like there's little cheesy like race branding on the replays and stuff. But there's also, I believe, a full editor for the replay system as well, which I
wow.
haven't
Oh,
looked
crazy.
at yet, or at least
Yeah.
like you can cut clips and do.
That's cool. Yeah.
I didn't get into it. I basically got Mario Kart, loaded up the Grand Prix, and just raced as often as I could until I unlocked as many courses as I could before I wanted to
Right.
go to sleep.
Mhm.
Which was maybe not the optimal way to do it because I feel like I'm now running out of single player content. But whatever.
What do you think about the game?
It's Mario Kart. It feels like
It seems like it's been really well received.
I didn't play Mario Kart on the Wii, which I think a lot of people played.
Uh-huh.
The last one that I think I really played, well, the one that I played Super Nintendo Mario Kart a ton. I played N64 Mario Kart because everyone played
Yeah.
that, and then I played a shitload of Nintendo DS Mario Kart.
Me too.
Mm.
The one where you had to like
I played
blow
a lot
into
of
it
that.
to
Yeah.
to do stuff. Like
Yeah.
I played a ton of that, and then I didn't really play Double Dash. I didn't really
I
play the
love
Wii
Double Dash.
one. I know I played a little Double Dash and it was cool, but this one feels like one of the games in the Nintendo cycle where they look back and do a sort of like reassessment and cleaning pass instead of an add
Okay,
features
yeah,
pass.
yeah.
Except I just said that and realized that I can now pitch everything in this game that is insane and is a complete ad and was never in a Mario Kart game because
So
Right.
what other than replay?
in this game, well, maybe this was in the other games as well, but in recent games, but in this game, in addition to picking your character, which I think always has had sort of the stats of like Bowser is slow to accelerate but has a high top speed or whatever, you can pick your chassis of your car, you can pick the wheels on your car, and you can also pick a fucking hang glider or parachute or something. And that combination you can mix and match to optimize different stats, and as you play through the game, you unlock more of that stuff. I think there is some measurable consequence to it, but
What
it's
is a hang glider and parachute for?
okay. So that's the other additional thing about this is that the courses are not all tied to the ground anymore. So it also just the courses will just run up off the ground, just like if you looked at like the GameCube F-Zero or Wipeout or something, where the courses just have no real bearing on gravity. They'll be falling along. So you'll hit this like blue stripe in the road, and then your tires flip down and just run perpendicular to the ground and start glowing blue, and they're like hover grip things like Back to the Future 2 flying car or something like that. So that's one of the things your car just kind of does automatically. It's not a skill thing, but then occasionally the track will just disappear from beneath you. You hit another one of those blue strips and your hang glider deploys, and then you have to sail to the next piece of track. So it's just a gigantic long jump.
There's some stuff like that in N64.
But if you pull back on this, your hang glider will actually like glide up, and you can find secrets in the gliding parts and stuff. And there are places where like there is just a jump over some just like muck. But if you notice, there's a slight secret route that has the blue strip on it, which means that when you hit the jump, your hang glider will deploy and you can fly and stuff. It all sounds gratuitous and insane, but when you're actually just driving along the track, you don't.
The funny thing is,
you don't feel any of that at all.
It feels like there's some lineage in the series for that kind of stuff. Like in the Super Nintendo version, there were a lot of shortcuts, and then also like. It's weird, like watching speedruns of. I watched somebody do a bunch of speedruns of the N64 version, and there are these weird level hacks that like are just known when you're playing that game competitively. That some of them are hacks and some of them are just weird shortcuts that you can take. So it feels like maybe they, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
incorporated some of that.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of the sort of the weird ability to poke around and find other things in the level to slightly optimize your route feel like they're formalized and pumped way up, but they're also, it allows the track design to be completely just outrageous in a way that other Mario Kart levels aren't, but didn't feel bad. Like it's packaged together aesthetically so cleanly that you don't notice. But like I was playing some level where I was driving around through like a city, like some of the levels are, and then I noticed on one lap that there were some like one of the curbs was curved up like just on an angle, and that it had the blue stripes on it. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess that probably means that I can just ride along the wall for part of the level. So I did, and then that ended up just taking me off into a completely other part of the game, and it looked insane to someone who was watching it because I just like went and the whole level just rotated 90 degrees. Then I was driving along the sides of buildings and like ducking into an alleyway by way of a wall, and then like a hang glider deployed, and I eventually kind of recentered on the rest of the map. But when you're playing it, it just feels like you've found another cool secret in the level.
Yeah, I mean that is what games like F-Zero and stuff kind of feel like.
Yeah,
games like futuristic racing games.
Yeah,
where it's just like I'm going to trust that this just
Whereas
goes.
in Mario Kart, it just feels more like it's like this is a gross cross of things, but like a Pixar version of a Looney Tunes cartoon or something, where it has that sort of modern Nintendo. Like when modern Nintendo looks really good, it effectively looks like they're doing sort of a CG Disney thing.
Yeah.
But the just madness of Mario Kart makes it feel way more just like slapstick and They don't
Right.
actually care about anything.
Yeah.
Also, I think it might be the nicest looking game that Nintendo's made, which is weird. It just looks good.
Yeah.
That's not surprising to me. I mean, Nintendo has a pretty good record of just making their stuff look better and better.
Yeah. Every now and then they put out something that just looks like it comes from a B team.
For sure.
But-
yeah, definitely. But they're like big core things.
Yep.
Like, for the
And
most part.
I think it's been a recent Mario Kart trend to have sort of two concurrent like campaigns that you can jump between, where it has the I can't even remember the order of operations of the three cups and then the special cups, whatever it is. It's like, is it just Mushroom Flower Star? It might be. I don't remember what.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And then
all of them.
special that ends with Rainbow Road, but then
Yeah.
it also has the Shell Cup, the Banana Cup, and the Leaf Cup underneath, which are all classic levels from previous Mario Karts. But they've done
they're still doing
on,
that? That's
on,
cool.
on a fair number of them.
Yeah.
But some of them go all the way back to the Super Nintendo.
Cool.
But they didn't. They completely redid the art, and it's a thing that I guess one can have mixed feelings about. But like the execution of them is so strong. Like I'm playing whatever it is, like Donut Plains 3 from the Super Nintendo Mario Kart, which I still know from playing that game to death.
Mhm.
But it looks like the nicest sort of cartoon aesthetic that I've ever played, and it's one of those moments where you look at it and just go, if 11-year-old me
Right.
from Mario
totally.
Kart era if you told him this is the future of video games, I would not only believe it, but I would not know what to do with myself forever. But yeah, it is also just Mario Kart. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're playing it. And you're just, I'm happy because I am playing Mario Kart. Like I'm
Right,
driving
sure.
my
Yeah,
Mario
yeah.
around. He's winning.
Who do you play as?
I've definitely put a lot of Waluigi time in because how
Yes.
could I not?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I think people sent us all of those Luigi gifs mostly because that first one was of Waluigi getting
Yeah,
destroyed by
yeah.
Luigi.
Yeah.
Played as Luigi a little bit because I wanted to see his pissed off face. Basically, I played as Waluigi though and tried to build just the most aesthetically disgusting car that I could to put him in because he has like this little round-looking pod, the one that he gets wrecked in the GIF, where it's just like a little circle that has like inflatable wings coming off of the back. But then I unlocked inflatable rainbow-colored tires that were not very good, and then just gave him the shitty parachute that doesn't work very well, and like he's just a fucking mess. And it's good. But then when he wins, you feel really good
Right.
because just Waluigi and his shit heap car does well. I don't know. It's fucking Mario Kart. I wanted to bring it in so we could play it today, but then I didn't bring the power adapter in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it did okay. We'll now just take a little side route into Andy Rooney territory.
Yeah.
So the AV adapter and power adapter on the back of the Wii U are identical to the ones on the back of the Wii. The AV plug is in fact 100% compatible. The power adapter, although it is the exact same size. You know how the Wii stuff, it's always like it's the square that has the one corner sliced off to make it like look cool and angled. It's just a different side of the plug is angled on the Wii U, so it looks exactly the
Well, they
same.
probably do that because they need different powers.
But why make them look like? 'Cause I did it twice when I first bought my Wii U.
You're like, oh yeah, this looks the same. It must work.
I started unplugging my Wii because I'm like, I got a Wii U to replace you, and then I looked at the connectors and was like, oh my god, Nintendo did the thing that no one does.
Right.
They actually have an upgrade path where it's like you already have this threaded through your fucking entertainment system. Replace your Wii U or your Wii with your Wii U. Just plug it in. And then I plugged the AV cable in and the sensor bar. And I was like, this is amazing. No. And then I did it again today. Like, and then I remembered, like, not only was I mad at Nintendo, but I was mad at myself because I made the exact same mistake twice. Oh, terrible.
So in your brain this morning, you're like, oh, it uses the same cables. I'll just leave that at home.
I unplugged it. I was like, oh, we have a Wii at work. This looks exactly like I must have just done that.
Right.
And then, because I was also in a hurry, I was like, thank God I don't have to unthread this power cable through the whole... Yeah, it made me feel really cool.
Well, it's because you are cool.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's why.
So that was the Mario Kart 10 or whatever, however long that was, 80.
Mario Kart 10?
Minutes.
Oh.
That's our new segment.
Right. Mario Kart.
The Mario Kart
Yeah,
10
right.
on 8?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that needs to have just da 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 like shitty
It's
theme.
in 10-8 time signature?
Yes. Yes, it is, Chris. Yeah, I don't know. There was a review of Mario Kart on Polygon that basically said it is really good and you'll be happy all the time, but it is Mario Kart, and I read that before I bought the game and said that's probably how I'll feel, and then that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I haven't played any multiplayer yet. I haven't gotten confident
I heard it's not
enough.
very good. The battle mode, because they've used the same tracks. Or
Yeah, I don't think
the
there's specific. There's no arena-based battle mode in this game. I've heard,
Yeah.
which is dumb. Multiplayer racing is fun in Mario Kart, but
Yeah.
you always want to play a few rounds of that and then just be like, okay, fuck it, we're now gonna go and get in and do Mario Kart DM where we shoot shit at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I played Mario Kart DS, I almost always played battle mode.
Yeah, battle mode was super prevalent in that game.
Because that was the one with the balloons, but it was one where you had to blow up the balloons,
Yeah.
which made it hilarious.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good game. Also, that was like their first online game, I think.
It was.
It might have been, yeah.
It was.
Because it had. I only ever played it on LAN play. I think that were just if you were on the
really?
same Wi-Fi.
I went through a phase where I played it online.
I played it online.
I played it at Shack Meets.
It was fine to just play. It sucked to deal with friend codes, but if you were just doing random, it was
I
fine.
ended up getting paired with a lot of people playing in Japan, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah, I've heard the online in this, like the battle mode itself is lame, but that just from an online connectivity standpoint, it plays really nicely.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I don't know.
Bring in that power cable.
I know. I also haven't bothered to try competing at 150cc
Oh,
because I'm
man.
not good enough at getting those gold
Need those
sparks.
extra CCs.
Do you have Pikmin 3? I forget.
I do have Pikmin 3.
Bring that in too.
I will.
Gotta check out that Pikmin.
You haven't played Pikmin 3 yet?
No,
No, neither.
Oh
of
my
us.
god! After all, I feel like no, but I just feel like
Your name
is like embroiled in
your
Pikmin
name
3.
on
You're on the
NeoGAF,
Wikipedia, right?
Your like your subtitle on GAF
Yeah.
True.
links to you getting Miyamoto to confirm that there would be a Pikmin 3 like 4 years
Yeah,
before it was
it's
announced.
like part of your legacy.
In classic cheeky Nintendo style, I was like, well, of course. I mean, we're planning on doing more things with Pikmin games. You will be surprised or whatever.
I think it was more concrete than that, but yeah.
Oh. Pikmin 3 coming for Wii U.
I don't have a Wii U, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also,
Yeah, man.
because of Smash Brothers, and because Smash Brothers is a game that you cannot play with anything other than a GameCube controller if you want to be a real Smash Brothers player, Nintendo announced that there's a USB to 4 GameCube plug adapter coming out, presumably to be plugged into the Wii U. But I think the only reason that I'm excited about it is that I hope that means you can directly plug GameCube controllers into a PC and run Pikmin 2 on
God.
Dolphin emulator.
Jesus.
Right, because
Wow.
when we've played it on the Dolphin emulator, we've had to play it on 360 controllers.
Yeah.
But like,
not nearly as good.
I mean, I'm sure you can buy a USB to GameCube adapter on Amazon, but Nintendo just making one officially is
Making
hilarious.
a 4-way hub, yeah.
I don't know if it's actually going to be compatible or not, but it's because it says it uses
Someone will make it
it
compatible.
says it
It's
uses
USB, someone will make
it
it.
says it has 2 USB ports, but it was postulated that one of those is for power and one of them is for data potentially.
Still, I can't imagine.
But if Nintendo
someone
makes
not
an
writing a
official
driver for
peripheral
or-
that lets you plug official Nintendo consoles into a standard plug, that means someone will figure out how to reverse
For sure.
engineer it and
Yeah,
make it supported in
definitely.
Dolphin.
if it's USB, it'll just send data, so someone has to figure out how to interpret the
So
data.
then you can have that little adapter that has like 2 cords and then just goes to a little rounded chunk of 4 cables or of 4 ports. Then I can plug my 4 Wavebird adapters into those 4 ports, and then we can have 4 wireless GameCube controllers plugged into a computer
Also,
and play Pikmin
seeing
2.
that was crazy to me when I think about, like, on a single console. Basically, if you just own a Wii U, the number of officially supported input devices just for
crazy.
Nintendo is nuts. Because now it'll be GameCube controllers, Wii remotes with the nunchuck, the like classic controller, in the Wii pad.
The Wii U pad, and there's
Wii U
also a
pad
Wii U
thing.
specific wireless dual stick gamepad that's not the classic
right?
controller.
Yes. It's
There'll be the ultimate
Crazy.
compilation
And like
photo.
Wii Motion Plus and
Just-
every like
Wii Motion
Wii Fit
Plus.
balance board, the
You're
Mario
like-
Kart steering
right,
wheel.
that's only
You're
first
like
party. These are all
your
first party.
Wii
Like,
Rock
it's
Band
even-
guitar plugged into like a nunchuck
just
plugged
looking
into
at
it.
the looking at the box for Super Mario 3D World, because that game, I think the new Super Mario Brothers U games are the same way, where it's like supports Wii Remote alone, Wii Remote on its side, Wii Remote
with nunchuck.
with nunchuck, classic Wii Remote with classic controller, wired or like gamepad. It's just like just to play Mario,
Right.
but it's because they deliberately designed that game so that it can go all the way down to being controlled like the
like
NES
an
game,
NES.
Yeah.
all the way up to just like you've strapped your body into a fucking mech suit. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, with Smash Brothers also being like, and why not the Wavebird? Like, plug a USB adapter into the back of your system to plug a official controller from 2001 into your system. So that is like they have like 15 years of controller backwards compatibility in Smash Brothers.
Yes.
That's
Pretty
so
much.
crazy.
Because with a first party game, you can't not support any of your official control methods.
Fishing.
And so, like,
well, yeah, because I think they're also making new GameCube controllers for Smash Brothers. Because when they posted the thing saying "Here's the adapter," it also had a picture of a GameCube controller, but they like blasted off the silk screening that said GameCube, and it just has the Smash Brothers like plus logo with the flames coming out.
That's just like the Smash controller.
Yeah, so if you're like a competitive Smash player, and you don't have your GameCube controllers anymore,
do you think that Nintendo will continue operating the way that they do, and then with the next Mario game, add also that to? Like,
and if you got that GameCube adapter, you might as well use that to play Mario.
I mean, because essentially it's all just like
what they really should do is fucking backpatch Pikmin 3.
Right.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Let's be honest, Nintendo.
Is really good for Pikmin.
It is.
Yeah. With like Mario
for that
or whatever,
Pikmin competitive scene.
Really, like,
where's Pikmin 2 at Evo?
It bums me out that game has zero chance of ever becoming a professional.
It has one chance, Chris. One last chance.
God, Pikmin is so good.
Okay, so
Idle Times can just go there and start its own stream in the like conference hall next door.
Oh man,
we can protest with like, "Where's Pikmin at Evo?" signs.
When we were
like,
at we were at California Extreme, that retro game expo. Oh, was it there? Or was it at QuakeCon? Oh, it was at QuakeCon in Dallas.
Yes.
When we were in the hallway of the Hilton, there were just like 4 guys who had a CRT TV with their GameCube plugged in the hallway. Like they just unscrewed the thing in the floor and were just playing Smash Brothers on the floor for all of QuakeCon. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Whatever, that would be me.
Yeah.
At the age that I went to QuakeCon once, I would have been so happy to find
an enclave of
Smash
players.
I might have told this story on the podcast before, but as far as like dorky dorks plugging a thing in an inappropriate place to play Smash Brothers, I was one of the people who decided it would be a really good idea to just stay up for multiple hours before Star Wars Phantom Menace came out. Sure. And there was a line at the theater in Petaluma of like,
why would you have to stay up?
Because it was fun to just like to go to the first show in the morning.
No, but I mean, what time was it that you would need to?
The 10 a.m. show the next day, like literally.
Because they didn't do midnight showings back then.
They didn't do midnight showing. So if you wanted to be the first person to see
it was like 10 a.m. Friday was the first day.
A big mistake
because you had to line up.
To be in the line to be in the 10 a.m. screening. A ton of people did that because they thought Phantom Menace was going to be good. It was a mistake that much of dorky America and the world made. Yeah. But someone, real talk, me realized that a ton of people wanted, basically like dorks in line wanted to be able to play a video game. And someone, I think, said they were going to bring their TV but couldn't find a way to plug it in. Then I realized that we could unscrew one of the lights on the marquee because it was a standard socket light bulb and screw in one of those plug to light things. So we just pulled the light off the marquee. Someone plugged that in. And then I think by around 1 a.m, there was a throw rug and a couch and a floor lamp along with people just playing N64 Smash Brothers, waiting in line for the Phantom Menace. Worst.
You got to explain this worst thing. I don't understand what you're describing. With the outlet, I don't understand what you're talking about.
So have you not seen this before? Where you can get a thing that is just the 2 plugs of an ungrounded electrical plug that you can just screw into a light socket.
Oh,
so someone boosted someone else up. They unscrewed a light off of the blinking chase lights outside of the theater, spilled water on the ground. No, then just plugged in. Yeah. Plugged in a extension cord to that, incredible. And then powered a small living room outside of this movie theater off a 6-plug outlet.
And I guess it was just the middle of the night, so the theater wasn't.
There
was no one there.
Yeah, no one was there.
Yeah.
So that was as far as dorky things you do in high school.
If you look closely,
are a good idea that are the stupidest idea. That's one of them.
Yeah.
So when I saw those kids who had were playing Smash Brothers on the floor of QuakeCon because they just like unscrewed the little like brass plate in the floor. I was like, okay, you're doing the Lord's work. Also, I could one-up you, but it's really shameful. And then I saw the Phantom Menace.
Did
you guys see those Star Wars Episode 7 set photo leaks? Okay,
I did.
I saw the one a couple of months ago with all the people at the table or whatever.
That's not a leak, Chris.
That's official.
Okay, well, I don't know what,
what are we doing? Video games.
Oh, right.
I've wasted most of this podcast. So
no. Yeah. I played some video games.
Yeah,
What?
Nick, did you?
What?
I played some video games. He said, regretfully, wistfully, mournfully, unfortunately. Like,
Yes.
I guess. What'd you play?
To be fair, yeah. They weren't video games yet. They were early access games on Steam.
They weren't video games. They were early access games.
They were the top 2 games on Steam. So I bought them and played them.
Oh, so you played The Forest.
I played The Stomping Land, I think it's called. The Stomping Land, and The Forest. Yeah.
I only played a couple minutes of The Forest.
What is the Stomping Land?
Yeah, let's start with The Stomping Land.
The Stomping Land is easy. That'll be 30 seconds.
An easy video game for babies?
Yes. No, it's actually not. It's essentially the concept is Daisy, but on a Jurassic island, and you play as a dude with a spear, and you can ride dinosaurs. So
that sounds like your favorite game.
No.
I'm saying it sounds like your favorite game.
Well,
It doesn't.
So this game had a Kickstarter.
It did. It has gotten a lot of press lately, so I thought I would check it out.
Yeah. I've never heard of that.
Although, it's like a thing that was going around.
I'm falling out of touch, apparently. Surprise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the number 1 game on Steam right now. It's ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah. So I paid $25 to play a game that is barely a game. I don't know. It's just. I mean, it literally is its own concept. It's just Daisy, but within that skin. There's some good animation work. Like one of the leads is a guy who I think was doing like VFX work for Hollywood or something. Actually, no. What was he working on? But in any case,
You're talking about The Stomping Land?
Yeah.
Because The Forest is another survival game that is made by a film.
Yeah, no, that's who I'm thinking of. That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
I think the animator on the Stomping Land was in games, but regardless, it's it really is just Daisy with dinosaurs, but doesn't work very well and has very little to do. So I logged on.
Did it seem like it had the potential to scale up to stuff, or do you think it's because it feels like early access games have well. Okay, I was going to say they have 3 trajectories. They either go up, or they kind of stay where they are, or they don't.
Right.
Seems like incisive commentary.
Yeah. That was just a sports interview. It's just like, I don't know, we're going to win or not going to win. It's one of the two. We'll see.
What was your gut from playing it?
It feels really early. I think that's my gut. It might be good. I think they have some interesting ideas. Like they're they're building in more of a resource type of system rather than Daisy, which seems like very just loot everything, and some of these things do things, and you can.
Isn't that also The Forest?
You can craft things in Daisy. The Forest, interesting, is not so much a Daisy alike as it is.
It feels like
it's more like Don't Starve.
Don't Starve. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. The Forest is more interesting of the two, but Stomping Land, I don't know if I would recommend checking it out yet. It feels really, really early. I mean, the dinosaur animation and stuff. It's actually, it works better than I thought it would.
Wait, do you play as a dinosaur or as like a dude?
You play as a little dude, and you run around, and you can
it's Daisy with dinosaurs, and you are dinosaurs. Would be a different
right.
situation.
Yeah, no, this is the game that it's just the Dino Rider thing that everybody wanted to play, but there are some funny things. So one, you can craft a bola and throw it at people.
Ebola, the virus?
No, Ebola.
Oh.
You can craft Ebola. You can craft a staph infection.
Splicing. You make your own custom dinosaurs and virulent diseases.
Yeah. But no, you can craft Ebola and throw it at humans, and it turns into you can basically just hog tie anybody in the game and drag them around using like a ragdoll rope.
So it is like Daisy.
It's basically Daisy, but they're building it, I think, to be more intentionally malicious. It's weird. It feels like
really?
Rust is also that. I don't know much about Rust, but it feels like that's the case. The second I logged on to the Stomping Land, someone just said, like, you fucking baby gay person, why don't you want to fight me? And I was just like, I'm just
dinosaurs.
I just started running after a dinosaur. Huh?
How long has this game been out?
I think it's maybe just a week in early access.
There's already people who are like fucking noob.
Oh yeah. Oh please, there were
Nub.
Yeah. I got called a nub for sure. And then I chased the dinosaur into the water, and
You monster!
and they drowned.
Wait, is there dino drowning animation? Is it like sort of
It
struggle?
just
and
sort
then
of disappeared.
No.
Is there
that's
dino
different.
DNA?
Yeah, no.
No DNA.
Got stuck in sap. I hate everything. It's fine. It's good. It'll be all right. It'll probably do a lot of business and be fine. It just seems
like super excited.
I'm not very excited about it. It seemed like it just seemed like a very, very straight adaptation of DayZ, which isn't super
Right. I
interesting
mean,
to me
that
at this point.
formula is in the air right now for sure.
Oh yeah. And the funny thing is, I thought the Forest was going to be that, but it's not. It is more like Don't Starve. The Forest is interesting. The Forest, you play as a dude who is.
This is also an early access Steam game.
Mhm. Yeah, it's by a team of 4 people, and like Jake said, it's a couple of them are like former like
They're
VFX
film
guys
dudes, I
in
think.
Hollywood. Yeah.
It's very pretty.
It is very pretty. You start out and you're in a plane, and there's like a kid next to you, and the plane crashes, and then the kid gets carried off by a weird tribal dude, and that's about as much as the story is.
You're describing all the parts that I hate.
Oh yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, the framing is not good. But
It feels like they're aiming for really like aesthetically potent, not like AAA feeling, but very like high fidelity feeling version of a like Minecraft or Don't Starve
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Where you're surviving out in the woods and crafting things to build
Uh-huh.
ways to survive. But it's like you chop down a tree and the tree physics its way to the ground and like weird shit like that.
yeah,
It looks pretty.
it's yeah. I mean, it does. It's weird. It's like there are moments in that game that make me feel like, oh, there's a lot here, and then there are moments that make me feel like it's just breaking. Like when you chop a tree, it's one of the first games that I've ever seen where you sink your axe into the tree and it chips away and chips away and chips away, and then it
tree
clearly
falls down and
the
hits the
tree
ground.
slowly falls down in a seemingly random direction, and then it turns into logs and you pick them up. But the second that tree falls and then splits into 3 perfect little log
Right.
pieces, and then you go and place it into your weird like wireframe house because you
Yep.
placed the house object down to go build the house. Ugh, like it's so close to being something that feels really and looks really good, but then there are just those strange game abstraction moments that break it down. I did have some really
Those
cool
feel
moments
like
there.
intrinsic things, or do they feel like things that will be ironed out?
Oh, those are intrinsic things for sure, but
Even if that UI was there, and then once you did it, your guy still like picked
Yes.
up the log and put
Yeah.
it down, it would go a long
well,
way.
they do that. Yeah, man, that's the thing. There are some moments where it feels like that. There are some moments, like first-person craft, like animation moments that feel really good. But
When you played it, did you get captured like immediately the first time?
yes, I think that's.
Does that just happen?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You can avoid it.
evade.
I've tried it a few
So-
times, but it's built. They're basically like
I only played through it
pseudo forcing it.
once, and I got because you see
these
The plane wreck
guys.
happens. You see
Yeah.
weird guys. You end up right by an encampment. Like your guy, I think loses consciousness, wakes up. You end up by a little like sort of ad hoc encampment that looks like maybe it's from other survivors or something. And when milling around there, I sort of strayed off into the forest.
Yeah.
And when I looked back at the camp, there were some weird sort of like glistening, sort of nudish native people walking around. And then I went over to them and I started sort of, I had some weapon or another and I picked at one of them. They captured me, put me in a cave with a bunch of other tourists, and I couldn't figure out how to get out. So I stopped playing. I know there's a ton more in the game, but
Yes.
I have to air a grievance
Yes.
that was actually pointed out to me by Nels Anderson, who also played. I think he's played about it seems like around the amount that you have, which seems like it's a few hours at least.
Probably
like,
2 hours. Yeah.
and this is a sim heavy like property based survival game.
Mhm.
And the first thing that it does is put you in a campsite with tents and sleeping bags and
That
says
you can't
it says
do anything
build
with.
a shelter.
Yeah.
But you build a shelter by stealing things from inside the suitcases next to the tents and sleeping bags,
Instead of
then go
actually
off into the
using the
woods
tent. Yeah.
and build a cabin.
Yeah.
It's like, can I not just take the tent is just a fabric draped over a branch? Can I not just take that?
That's a weird convention of
Why-
these games. It's a thing that happens in DayZ too, where you're just running around and there are some things you can loot, and then there are objects in the world that would clearly be useful
it doesn't
that you
happen.
can't
It doesn't happen
affect.
in Minecraft or in Don't Starve, which are the games that
Right.
are sort of like
Yes.
these games are all
progenitors of
kind of
this
like
a little bit.
they're all sort of the progeny of that. But like, it's weird. Like
Yeah.
Minecraft
No, it's a bummer.
was always pitched as like you chop.
I was
going to
talk about one of those
and
moments,
then,
yeah.
and then build your little cube hut.
Yeah.
And it's weird that they don't teach you the basics of it in the forest by saying, this is stuff that you want right now. You can get through your first night in the rain by just ripping this tarp off of this fucker, going off to a place where you feel safe, putting a fire up, putting the tarp down over your head, and like this counts as a shelter. And
or
you've done
trying
it.
to sleep in the one that's already there and just getting fucked. I mean,
Right.
It's,
Yeah, or like if those were wrecked, but the materials were right in front of you,
Well,
so
that
you
too,
could
yeah.
then like learn the basics of how to build.
Well,
one
you're
by
talking
using the
about
scraps.
you're talking about static like objects, right? You're talking about, or no, is that not what you're talking about? Yeah, you're talking about just stuff.
The game opens, but like that stuff being there feels like the first thing that they do is just like the narrative plane crash happens, but then like the mechanical expectations plane crash also happens because it says ignore the most good-looking shelters in the game that you know of, and then go and build a cabin out of trees that you fell. It's like just if all
Pick
that
a lane.
if all
not
that worked
that's
together,
not the first thing you would try
like
if you were
you
in this
could
situation.
have that tent tarp that you could put up on an existing branch, and then you could chop down a tree and you'd use it to build a primitive lean-to as your first thing. Like I know that's a shit ton more stuff than they want to do, but if that's the case, cut the campsite with the tents out of the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
That's what they should do.
Yes.
That's what's frustrating about the game right now is, well, one, it's just not done. It's not even. It doesn't even feel. It's like it's. I think built to a better level of completion for an early access than the Stomping Land is, but it's still
it's impressive as fuck for
It is.
for like Alpha 1 that you play.
Right.
You're just like, Jesus, like the opening of it is BioShock 1, but it looks like a measurably nicer opening of BioShock 1.
Yeah.
And it's a team of 4 people with it putting out an early alpha access 1. Like it's nuts.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but you look in the survival book and you can just tell that it's a third complete of what they want to do, you know? But yeah, there are those weird gap moments where it's just like, ugh, like you're giving me the thing here, but I want to be able to do this stuff. And also, like, what is the point of the game, really? Like, it doesn't feel like that's actually built in yet.
It seems like the point is to get your kid back from that giant.
Right,
who
but that's not in the
steals
game.
him.
That's not in the game yet. So
Right, but you also do that by way of building a cabin.
right.
It's
Yeah. If the object is to simply survive, then that there should be a progression.
It feels like
built
there's a
into
ton
it.
of really cool stuff that they want to do and they have done. But if they build another 2/3 to 3/3 of it and then cut a third of what's there, that it will like I don't know, because just the atmospherics and the way the forest looks is just nuts.
I had a really good couple of moments with it, which is the reason. Like, it feels like there's a game there that's really good. That if they just focus. So I ended up like just like I played twice. I got captured once. I escaped that cave, and then I died. And then a couple of other playthroughs, I was just like middling around and died again. The first time that I actually survived for a while, I just took a right turn and like right off that initial like plane thing, and
So you didn't go to the camp.
Nope, just ran for the beach. Just got out of there and ended up on the beach and found like this area with maybe like 50 of those suitcases. It was like just the moment in Castaway where like a million suitcases were there. And I was like, oh, this is great.
That's like where the plane ripped apart and they all dumped out.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just took my axe and I just cracked open every suitcase, took all the candy bars, and then built a fire and a little rudimentary shelter. And while I was doing that, I was like chopping down wood and like all this stuff. The thing is, like, that stuff feels really good to me. Like, there's a game in this. It's really like they're onto something. It just needs to be. Anyway, so I'm off like in the forest, cutting down a tree, and I hear this noise, and it's some of those tribal dudes, and they make this weird noise, like they sound like seagulls, just like demon seagulls in the distance. I don't know. The sound design is actually pretty good, I thought. Like when you make eye contact with these guys, like when you hit their like trigger box, there's this little I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a little piano cue. It's very filmic. I don't really know what I'm saying, but and the animation of those guys is really interesting, I thought. Like, it's actually for an anime AI, I thought they're doing a pretty decent job. Like, they dart around, like they run extremely fast. They monkey up trees. They do all kinds of weird things. Like, they don't directly attack you until, maybe like 2 minutes into an encounter. So it's this just really strange, surreal stuff. So I'm like, collecting a bunch of firewood, and I hear this noise, and I look over and I see like 3 of them, and they're all just sort of like doing something in the water. And so from that point on, I was just like, oh, fuck. Like, these guys are just going to run over and kill me. This is going to be the worst. So I just started collecting my wood and keeping them in eyesight. Because the other thing is, there's no map like Miasmata.
Just minding my own
Yeah,
business with the wood here.
I was like, I'm just gonna be over here, and then I was like, oh fuck, I have to go deeper in the forest to get more logs. So now I'm gonna like lose track of where the fire is, and so I kicked the fire up. I added more fuel, and then just went back into the forest, and I came back out, and I didn't hear him anymore, and I was like, fuck. Oh, there's like this like pile of rocks where they were obscured at the moment. Like once I'd gotten back to my camp, I couldn't quite I didn't have a straight shot to where they used to be. It's like, God damn it. Like I can't just sit here and like cook and stuff because you know, part of the game is like just staying fed. It's like don't starve. So, you know, you have to sit there and cook food on your fire. You know, put food on your family. And so then so
They send suiciders out.
yeah. So I was like, all right, God damn it. I'm going to put my axe on and just go see, you know, just go knock on the neighbor's door and see if they're still there. And I just kind of crept down the beach, and the like cinematic moment of me just like wazding around this big rock, and they're gone. And I'm like, all right, fuck, thank God. And I walked, like one, I was surprised because I thought they were just scripted. I thought they were just going to be standing around the water, and they were gone. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to see what the hell they were eating. And I walk up, and there are just body parts just floating in the water, just like a head over here, like a foot on the left. Like body parts are things you can pick up in this game. It's really weird. Anyway, so I was like, oh, thank Christ. Oh, I can't believe this. All right, great. Because I hadn't survived very long in this game.
What, did you take the body parts?
Oh, of course I took all the body parts. You take everything. So I got my head, I got my leg, and I set back out to my camp, and I was walking down the beach, and then I heard the noise again, and I was like, oh, fuck, they came back. And I turned around, and they weren't there, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And I looked back, and they're like 10 feet from my camp, eating something else behind a rock just to the side of my camp. And I was like, God damn it. Shit, fuck, I fucked it up. I left the thing, and now like the fire's not going to scare him away because I'm not near it, and I can't like do anything to like, oh, this is the worst. And so I walked up, just like crouched, wazding back to my camp, and I had like almost nothing on my inventory, but I had a flare gun. I had a flare gun with like 2 shots. And so I took out the flare gun, and I was like, God damn it, I don't really want to kill these guys, because that just feels like the game I don't want to play. But this is also the camp that I just spent like 30 minutes building, so I'm not going to just like fuck off. Like this is I got to like, I got to go say hi. Like I got to start fucking diplomacy. There's no getting around me just like triggering something. So I walked up to the camp, I had the flare gun out, and it started to rain, of course, and like it was like getting dark, and I was like, oh God damn it, like this is just not gonna go well. And I walk up, and you know, sure enough, there's like this enormous tribal leader with like a big stick with a like goddamn skull on a spike. I was like, oh well, this guy's gonna kill me if he comes near me, so I'm gonna have to probably scare him off or something. And so I just thought, oh, I'll just shoot the flare just to their left. I like in the game instructions it says like, you know, they are afraid of fire, maybe it'll just spook them, because sometimes they dart away and just run for the hills. And I pull out my flare gun, and I'm just, you know, in the dark, in the rain, just my hand is like barely able to focus. There's no reticle in this game, so I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna shoot to the left. And I pull the trigger, and it just goes right into the guy's face. Just like a boom headshot, AWP, just like splat out the back, and he just hits the ground, and the other 2 guys are just like, what the fuck, Frank, you hear that? And they just like pop up, and like, you know, the little like piano music starts, and I'm like, oh my God, no. And then I just immediately fired 2 more shots that killed them both, and I was like, oh fuck. Well, that went, well, yeah, two more on top of the 3rd one. I was like, oh God damn it. I didn't want to kill these guys. And so I walk over to their bodies, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'll chop them up and make them into legs. And so I'm still, well, because, you know, use the whole corpse. It's like part of hunting, whatever. So I'm just doing this like disgusting thing that I didn't want to do.
Just quartering these humans.
I'm drawing and quartering humans. And then I look up, and there are 4 more guys walking down the beach toward me because they presumably heard the flare gun.
Right.
And here I am just like digging my axe into their friends' faces, chopping up their bodies. And that was the end. I just ran and just left everything behind.
Really?
Yeah, I just left everything. I was like, all right, I'm going to Delaware. Goodbye. So that was my forest experience. But So like that like 15 minutes of content felt really good.
Yeah.
They should just, I don't know, find the weird dissonant aspects of the gameplay and cut those out, and then there's probably a really good game in there. But yeah,
Cool.
It was good. It's better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that seems cool.
Yeah. The thing is, it doesn't seem like there is a large point to playing right now. It seems like,
Yeah.
I think they're just, they probably just haven't incorporated a lot of what they maybe have already even built. Like in the trailer, there are like weird guys with tentacles coming out of their head, and it's just clear that there's just more
Way better stuff than what's in now.
Oh yeah, I want more sick, crazy. I mean,
Well,
that's funny. I'm not actually excited about that stuff, but
You're just excited about the content stacking up, because you telling
Yeah.
that whole story actually made me want to finally go back and play Still You're Being Hunted now that it's like
Right.
way more final. Because when I've
Yes.
just seeing screenshots and video of
Yeah.
that game, it feels like it's really like fattened up as
It's
far
the-
as for
yeah.
like we
Yeah,
we
yeah.
tried that game.
Yeah,
we streamed it like a
several months
year
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
And
it's a real bummer that, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's just a weird, like, with early access, the way that this stuff works now. I don't begrudge anybody trying to fund their development and being open
has
about
the
it,
potential
but
to give you a weird first
Yes.
impression. Like, I've played it,
Mhm.
I'm going to wait for it to get better, but unless
Yeah.
there's like a huge milestone hit that everyone starts talking about, where
Yep.
it's like now is the time.
yeah.
Unless it does like the Minecraft like or Don't Starve pile up, where more and more people just keep playing it anyway.
Right.
It
Well, and
feels
I was
like it's
thinking
really
about
hard
it
for you to
too.
get back.
And the weird thing about that is, like, it seems like, they're using the Minecraft model, but Minecraft, part of the word of mouth with Minecraft was just, it's all user created stuff, right? And
Right.
like these games rely on just the experience they're providing, or
That's
at least,
why Don't Starve.
at
though.
least, yeah.
Don't
yeah.
Starve has done gangbusters on basically like a top-down 2D model
Mm-hmm.
of what a lot of the forest sounds like.
Yeah, it's true. Well, and when the first time I played Don't Starve, it felt like it was at a pretty decent level of feature, So I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird thing to play a game that early that I paid $25 for. Like the Stomping Land felt really, really rough, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's just a weird balancing act that teams have to play
So
now.
you think you're going to play more of the forest now? Or are you going to wait and see?
It honestly, it felt like I probably hit the max. I mean, I could have built a boat, but to do what, So
Paddle your cool boat around.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably cool it and just come back to it a couple months from now.
I think there's definitely a certain sort of category of person who really enjoys that, like, playing along as new stuff comes online. But you have to really be into, I think, what the game is trying to do.
Yeah.
Whereas where I tend to be less that way when I'm playing games just across the board. Like, it's less that I have like my game, like my genre, or like my thing that I love all the versions of, and more just like I just want to see something interesting out of this game. And so just regardless of what it is, because I play a pretty wide range of genres. There's some stuff I don't play, certainly, but like there's no one genre that's like what I play. Whereas I feel like a lot of people who get really into early access stuff, it's like, yes, I am into this like style of survival game, or like, this style of like crazy like hardcore platformer thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I am totally bought in to following all little things because
Like
I play
the Planetary
enough.
Annihilation people.
Yeah,
as an
yeah.
extreme example.
Yeah,
It
right.
feels
Planetary
like
Annihilation, exactly. Where it's like I've played like I think a lot of people who are
Robert
into the
Space Industries.
like right. A lot of people who play like Total Annihilation, Alpha or Beta, are people who played
Planetary.
Planetary Annihilation, played like Total Annihilation and all the Supreme Commander games, and are like, I understand the context that all of these kind of micro decisions are being made in, because I know the landscape of this whole genre. And so those are the people who can kind of see forward, probably like infer a lot more from like those little decisions. And even if they're not getting it all right there, can think, okay, I understand, and then complain about it or be happy about it or whatever.
Yeah.
But like from my standpoint, yeah, it's tough to load up games like that and be like, well, yes, this seems like it could be cool, but like I'm realistically not gonna invest myself to the point that I can follow line with every single point release,
Right.
and like be part of that curve.
Yeah, and there also just has to be that first level of content. Like, for instance, in this game,
Prison Architect was good at that.
yes, but like in this game, there's clearly like right now the experience seems to be well, the end game seems like you can build a little fort, essentially. Like you can build up, you can have like a little log cabin, you can build walls, you can build a door, a window, whatever. And it takes a lot of resources to do that. And then in the trailer, they show the little dudes like attacking your fort and whatever. But I sat in the same spot of the game for forever and didn't see a single enemy. Period. Also, just a lot of things aren't. Like just basic things like when you go to sleep, it doesn't change the weather cycle. Like just the game isn't really quite
Sure.
The systems just aren't there yet.
Yeah.
And so like if that stuff was there to a like a level where I could, like for instance, like Kerbal, when I played that early access, like I could have played that for 60 hours. I probably did.
Yeah, but that game but there have been people playing along with that game in development for like
that's probably
like
that's
a
true.
year or more before you ever played it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's just like different people can join along at different points in the curve and get something out of it. But I think if you're within the first couple weeks, you probably have to like already be pretty predisposed. You know what I mean? To like getting a lot out of a little.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever kind of game it is.
I could be totally wrong about this, but there's a countdown on the early access or like within the game client that says 12 days. I think they're actually just going to release a version of it or something. It's
For
weird.
the Forest?
Yeah.
And then the Robert Space Industries, the Star Citizen stuff is definitely the most extreme example of that, because right now the only thing you can play, I think, is like your viewer is like your hangar.
Yeah, you can't
look at a spaceship model.
Yeah, the dogfighting isn't in.
No, dogfighting isn't in. And I was looking at their website today. I forget why. Someone linked.
Check it on your ship.
No, I backed the regular Kickstarter, but I haven't bought anything like since then. But someone was. Oh, I was reading some editorial about early access games, I guess, and they linked to like the release schedule for Star Citizen, and it goes all the way out to like 2016 with all these things. Like here's when dogfighting is due. Here's when whatever, and like, but it's all based on just interviews that. Because it's not an official page. It's like on the wiki, the Star Citizen
So when someone's
wiki.
like, it seems like we'll have this coming
Well,
up.
yeah, so the community updates this page on the wiki, and it's based on like statements that have been given in interviews.
Yeah, Kerbal does that too. Like there's a Kerbal community that has just a master list of features,
but
confirmed.
But stuff gets pushed
whatever.
back constantly.
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, Star Citizen, that game's even right now they claim it's not going to be actually so I think I didn't realize because I haven't followed it that closely. So there's all these modules. But then there's a thing that's just called Star Citizen, which is like the actual thing, which is the persistent.
Yeah.
No, the campaign. There's like a single player campaign called Squadron 42, I think, or Squadron 44 or something. That is like they started up an entire new studio to make that in Manchester, I think, and like that's just like another team that's making the single player portion of the game, and like there's definitely co-development going on because obviously a lot of those systems are shared with the larger game, but like. This is a huge enterprise. This is like $45 million or more kind of thing that now I think supports 3 different studios all making these different modules of the game. And then sometime in like 2016, there's the one called Star Citizen that is basically the thing. But until then, there's all these crazy drops.
He is the one called Star Citizen.
And it's you get the feeling like I'm sure it feels...
And then this is going to be on Steam for $45 or something? Like, what's going to happen
I don't
end
know.
of this thing?
I don't know. I'm sure it feels different if you are like really tapped into the community, if you're following along. But to look at it, it just looks like a military industrial complex.
Right.
It's just like gobbling up more millions
Robert
of dollars
Space
and like
Industries
funding
is
its own
actually
existence
gonna
forever.
They're like,
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
They're going to announce a competitor to the Dragon capsule.
It's such a weird thing. And the amount of money they still earn is crazy.
Oh, I know.
Like it hasn't slowed down.
I know.
If anything, it's increased. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre. It's a weird thing.
That is probably to me the single strangest thing to happen in video games in a long time.
Yeah, and it doesn't get talked about all that much.
No, it's really weird. It's really weird.
Just Star Citizen in
just as a
particular?
the whole phenomenon of Star
Yeah.
Citizen.
Yeah.
It's the way that they present all of their content is like it's all like the new business model of early access funding and all this stuff, but their actual website and like sort of the style of the language and the presentation feels like I'm looking at the 3D Realms website.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, and this is what it is. What's on the other side of this webpage?
Yeah.
Infinite blackness.
Yeah.
You don't know what's on the other side of this wall. It's just
like you can't even. I was confused for the longest time about what Robert's Space Industries even is, and I think it's a fictional.
Yeah.
entity.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
And the actual thing is called Cloud Imperium. And then at the bottom of the Robert Space Industries page, there's all these like really well done fictional logos of like
Including Origin.
including Origin, which is the name of the company that made the original like
Wing Commander and
Wing
stuff,
Commander that Chris Roberts like worked on in the early 90s.
It's
like the whole, and it looks like a
Right,
riff
it's just-
on the Origin logo. The whole thing
give
is this,
millions of dollars to this thing. Why don't you? Like, to what? Is this space?
what is this entity? And then there's like yeah, and then there's and then the studio making Squadron 42 or 44 whatever like is like its own studio. And I tried to find, there's like a blog post that's like, come check out the latest at like what's going on the Squadron game. And I'm like, I couldn't find a blog post that just announced the creation of this new studio.
What you're going to
in the
find
first
out is that
place.
this is actually all just a front being run by an EVE Online corporation. Like, the Mittani is just behind all of this. None of this is real. It's just, you're going to get your early access and it's just going to load up EVE and you're going to be a slave to their corporation.
What's funny about this
Thank
is
you
that,
for your
like,
space bucks.
We've hooked up
Please,
an elaborate dogfighting simulator, but what this actually is doing is it's abstracting
Yeah.
into mining in Eve.
Right,
You
yeah.
think that you're
Yeah.
like they're still developing
Yeah.
Robert Space Industries,
Right.
but it's
Well, no,
actually
yeah.
just making them ISK or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, you're in the spaceship mining, but then there's a VR helmet within the game that is going over your head, and you're just dogfighting
Like, oh.
while you're like, oh, pew pew, pew pew pew.
Every shot is actually
Yeah.
just the swing of an axe.
Yeah. Anyway,
Is it
it's a really
ISK? Is
strange
that
thing.
game?
Yeah, ISK.
In
yeah.
the ISK mine.
I'm sure that to people who have been following this thing the whole time, the structure all makes sense and like all this stuff is, but like to look at it, it is baffling to me.
Yeah.
Like it's completely baffling. And I'm sure not only is it comprehensible to the group of people who follows this, they would regard my bafflement with incredulity. Like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
because it's the community seems so fully formed. Like I told you, I'm sure I told the story on the podcast. I gave a keynote at a conference in Boston like 6 months ago, and like one of the conference like booked me to do a bunch of interviews with press, and most of them were just like game websites. But then one of them was just like the community spawned like in-world news source of the world of Star Citizen.
Oh my
That
god.
they're just like, yeah, we're really hoping that like when the game goes live, we can be like on the radio station in the ships and the like space stations and stuff. And I'm like, what? And they broadcast this thing like, all the time. Like they just have this like channel that's like the fictional,
You know what this feels like?
but it bleeds over into reality.
I know what it feels like. It feels like the lead up to the Phantom Menace.
Oh.
Whoa.
I was going to say it feels like Derek Smart.
Derek's
I
smart.
want to bring it back to the Phantom Menace for a second because that specific thing reminds me of the. Okay, so when the Phantom Menace was coming out, there were people who waited in line outside of
Yeah.
whatever it is, Man's Chinese Theater
Yeah.
for like a month. And that was the most extreme thing in the entire world because guys at the front of the line ran a Star Wars fan site and they had a major company drop a broadband cable to their place in line and they were running a live streaming television station
Crazy.
out of like they were just playing fan films, interviewing people, taking press, and there was no reason for it, but it was just like because these people were excited
Yeah.
about a thing, they set up an
Yeah.
entire broadcast television network outside in Los Angeles.
Right.
So
Weird.
yeah,
Crazy.
people are weird.
Yeah.
God, so the studio making Squadron 42 is called Foundry 42. And if you just search for Foundry 42, you don't find any just actual information.
Well, this is the
All you
Robert Space
find is,
Industries
like,
first party development.
Sir, we've
This
done
is
a
like-
back deep.
Yeah, but you find like jobs posting and like
Right, this is like when
the latest on Squadron 42.
when it was like-
just explain to me
when-
what it is. Like,
when in the
Oh, it's an
GameCube era,
ARG.
Nintendo said, "Oh, Retro Studios is making a new Metroid game," and everyone was like,
Right.
"Who?" And you go to the Retro Studios website, it just says, "We are making a Metroid game."
Yeah.
Here's our job posting. Like, what is the culture of the studio? Does it exist at all?
that's still kind of true of Retro Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
there's
weird.
a little bit.
I didn't even know they still existed. But like that, this is
think
like
they
that.
do.
But instead of it being owned by Nintendo, it's being owned by another, like their parent Kickstarter
Another
company.
weird crowdfunding.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say that the podcast?
It's just
Derek's
just as a
Smart.
phenomenon, this game it has shades of the Derek Smart sort of battle cruiser fan base where it was just like oh, I really want this feature in space game, generic concept thing, and that would be cool. And then Derek Smart's just like, sure, I'll add it to the list. And then it just never... It
feels like this is going to be executed at a very different level than a Derek Smart game.
Oh, for sure.
But
I'm saying this, it could potentially be the actualization of that.
I am imprinting my mental picture of this thing back onto you, and you're doing it now.
And and I think the potential is...
But it's because they're also giving them millions of dollars to do it.
Yeah.
Tens of millions of dollars.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I was just going to say, well, I mean, it could do good or it could not do good. But like also, oh God, I don't know. When I looked at the dogfighting video, I just went, man, it's a space game.
It looks really pretty.
It's really pretty.
That cockpit's pretty.
It's really pretty.
That cockpit art they put out like 3 years ago.
But it didn't, all right. Well, yeah.
So Retro, I guess, just makes Donkey Kong games now?
Yeah.
They've made at least 2 Donkey Kong games.
I think they've been attached to something that's not that recently, but
weird. I
can't remember what it was, if it was a Metroid or not. I guess probably not. Otherwise, I've heard about it for sure. Yeah.
You guys want to take a break?
Let's take a break.
Oh, wait, I just got an email that says congratulations in the subject line, and then the contents says winning information in document, and it has an attachment. Should I open that?
Yeah, why not?
I'm going to erase it. We should take a break.
All right,
I want to share that information with you, though.
Thanks,
The
Jake.
attachment says fuck Nick.
Oh, it does.
Video games.
Sorry, I'm jumping upstairs right now.
Oh. I thought you were just jumping anywhere.
Also that.
Just on the
I'm
ground.
just walking upstairs, but I'm Doom Guy.
Oh.
I guess he's just smoothly walking.
No, he just glides. He just...
Yeah.
He glides while making the Luigi face. Hey, are we back for...
Oh, yeah, we're back, I guess.
Yeah.
So all the stuff you just heard on the podcast, we recorded last night, and then about, I think, basically fewer than 12 hours after we recorded it, it was announced that the dogfighting module for Star Citizen has now been released
to make a sound
to people who are backers at like the level that allows them to have alpha access to stuff.
Yeah.
So that was good.
So just to make sure we're as cool as possible, we talked about how inscrutable this was, then woke up the next morning.
Well, then we
Arena Commander
awoke
was
next
announced.
morning to like a completely seemingly out of nowhere drop of like one section of the game. So it's a little bit inscrutable still.
Yeah.
Also, I tried to go to the website to like buy the thing that would allow me to play this. My opinion that it is somewhat inscrutable has not changed, because you go there and it's like there's a thing and it's like $5 alpha module access, and I'm like, okay, I click that and it's like, this will not do anything unless you already have like a ship pack or like a game pack or something in your account. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I like go to my account and I'm like, oh, buy a single ship module or multi-ship module. And I'm like, wow. Just to look, I look at the multi-ship module, which is like, I think the cheapest one is like $1,000 or something. And it goes up to $10,000, and the 10,000 ones are all sold out. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go to single ship module, and then it's like $30 module, $40 module, and it's all these crazy widgets that are all different sizes, with bigger ones that are obviously intended to entice you into upselling, right? Like there's a $30 one, then there's a $40 one, and the $40 one is like the plus version of the $30 one, but then there's obviously ones that are hundreds of dollars, and some of them include beta access and some of them don't, and I guess some of them also include alpha access of things, and they have all different ships, but like it's not clear to me what the like value of the different ships are. It's crazy. This thing is crazy. It's like a totally I just want,
again, you don't know that you're actually just buying a spaceship with this, but
yeah, I just kind of want to know like what's the thing. I guess what I have to do is just buy the cheap, like the $30 one, the cheapest like ship pack, and then the $5.
There's probably
like,
someone
alpha
listening to this right now
module.
going, no,
Yeah.
oh, don't.
Yeah. But I can't. So I'm pretty sure that's what I have to do. So I think I can get out the door for $35 to play the dogfighting thing. I think.
Yeah, and like everything else with this game, that trailer looks sick and ridiculous, and the logo for it is
Oh, the logo's
spectacular.
awesome. It's called Arena Commander, and the logo is like in
It just
the
looks like
style
Wing
of the
Commander.
Wing Commander logo. Yeah.
Ah.
It looks really good though.
Yeah, no, I don't mean that in a bad way. The old Wing Commander logo is actually really good.
Yeah, it's rad.
Yeah, so hopefully this brief interlude makes you stop stabbing yourself in the leg when we're talking about being completely unaware of the fact that there is a game out for
Apparently
Star
this
Citizen.
exists now.
I mean, we did a like sort of half informal test around the company just to make sure that we're not completely insane. I don't think we're completely insane. I think that this is still very much, and I mean, you're trying to buy it proves that it is in fact
Also, when you buy
inscrutable
it,
as fuck if you're not ingrained in it already.
Yeah. So when I tried to buy the $30 one, it's like you add it to your cart and you check out, and I'm like, it didn't ask me for any credit card information or anything, and then you have to like come back later, and then it puts you through like a Stripe payment thing to like create a payment, and then eventually the payment will be associated with the order, and then you own the thing. But you can't just like, at least when I did it, I couldn't find any way to. It just putting your credit card information was not part of the same flow as like checking out your cart,
Weird.
which was really strange. So
Let me tell you something about this strange, in quotes, purchase path. It has raised $45 million.
I know this. It's nuts. They have they're currently on like I don't know, some couple $100,000 away from their $45,000 or $45 million stretch goal, and they have a $46 million stretch goal posted after that. And presumably once they hit this current one,
It'll
they will
unlock
display
the future, the stretch goal.
Stretch goal, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have paid with PayPal.
Maybe.
Anyway, I still feel kind of lost about this whole thing, but
It was a weird experience to talk about all this stuff last night, to wake up
I know, wake
to
up
be like,
hours later.
okay, I guess there's
Hey,
a trailer
Star Citizen.
for a contest. Like, what? It still does the thing though, where it says like the trailer says effectively this is like Star Citizen, Arena Commander, part of Star Citizen, available later, available now, Star Citizen. Like, it's so strange to see a game of this scale be put together in such a modular fashion. Like, it feels like a forced version of what happens naturally for something like Eve, where it's just like, had they somehow been able to predict 3 years of production schedule and sold it piecemeal instead of just building it's weird.
Right.
It's weird.
It's probably gonna work. Assuming that they actually just make the game and don't just keep collecting millions of dollars and selling fake ships forever. Like, it seems like this is the kind of game for which that could work, right?
Yeah, it's
like
just
more than most games.
It's interesting that it has a budget of $45 million and rising, and that presumably means there's a big player base out there. But
you don't see it.
You don't see it, and also is the success of this thing when it's done predicated on the fact that once it exists, it's going to have a sustained and ever growing player base? Like, where are they expecting to land at the end of this?
It'll be interesting to see. Like, so right now, to look at their website, you can't see yet how much money they've raised today because their crowdfunding like meter thing just goes up to the previous day, or at least for day totals it only does. I guess hourly I could technically figure it out sort of right now, but like it'll be interesting to see as of tomorrow or as of a few days from now what influx of cash they got for announcing this, because that will probably disproportionately be new players, whereas I think most of like over the last several months, for example, probably most of the
over the last 2 years.
Yeah, probably most of the money they've gotten is their existing community like buying newly available ships as they announce them.
Right.
Because like
whereas this is now people are like, oh cool, I can actually play the dogfighting from the Wing Commander guy.
What do I need to donate? Which is what I went through. Like, what do I need to contribute to
get it?
Also, I could have sworn I backed the Kickstarter of this, but I can't figure out if I did or not. So anyway.
Good.
Yeah, I will be interested to see that. And I also would like to be able to know how many backers they've gotten so far. I don't think that information is
right. So you can find out like what's the backer
I want to know what the average is. Yeah, exactly.
The backer average, yeah.
Because I've just been assuming that that the reason that they have $45 million, whereas other fantastically successful crowdfunded games have like $3 million or less, obviously. But I mean, the most successful ones usually don't get past, $3 or $4 million. I've just been assuming it's like, oh, okay, well, it's not that this game genuinely has an audience that is 12, 13 times the size of those games. It's more that maybe it also has a big audience, but is largely that they are really doubling down on their committed audience and saying, this is how you're going to make your experience better.
Right.
But I want to know, like, I'm just curious to know how true that is. I would love to see stats on that, but I guess they have there's no real reason for them to make that public. I mean, just saying $45 million without...
You don't need to qualify it, really.
Yeah, exactly, because then they don't need to, like, run the risk of undermining the kind of impressive nature of that figure. It's just
right.
like
$45 million from 3 millionaires.
People, right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean to disparage them or anything. It's just...
You do.
It's just such a... No, I don't.
I know.
It's just that it's such an unusual amount of money to raise from crowdfunding that it's got to... the composition of their audience has to look different because it's just such an outlier. It doesn't,
It's just Jay Allard. Longtime Wing Commander fan. He could never get Microsoft to truly like invest in a future Wing Commander game, which is why he left.
Well, there's people in the game industry use, maybe less so now as everything's not just sort of big studios always anymore, but like people used to always talk about this sort of like trade-off between actually, you know what? I guess they still do. Actually, I guess this is maybe even more important now because people set their own prices for games on stuff like Steam, but the trade-off between finding a larger audience at a lower price point and then finding a smaller audience at a higher price point. And like, wouldn't it be great if everyone could just find a like Saudi sheik to just spend $4 million on one copy of your game,
right?
And you just make whatever fucking game you want. Or I guess then you make the exact game that guy wants.
Right. That's the actual problem with all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I haven't gotten to play the dogfighting thing yet because I'm still waiting for my credit card transaction to sync up with my order. So hopefully when that
You're still
happens,
waiting for it to secretly siphon 3 times the amount out of your existing transactions to boost their numbers.
That's how they did it. So once that happens, I'll download the module and check it out.
Cool. Anyway, let's now welcome back Nick Brecken. And also let's welcome back Yesterday.
Oh, Back to the Future.
No, we're going to the past, Chris.
Video game.
We'd like to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this episode of Idle Thumbs. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website, portfolio, and online store. For a free trial and 10% off, you can go to squarespace.com/idlethumbs and enter the offer code THUMBS at checkout. We've talked about Squarespace a couple times on the show. They're a really nice service for just quickly putting up a portfolio or a store.
Without looking like a stock
blog
thing.
that just looks, their stock designs are really nice and measurably better than the stock designs that you sort of think of when you think of a blog site.
Well, when Jared put his up, I actually had no idea it was a Squarespace site. Like, this sounds like a pitch, but it's actually not. Like, I went to Jared Emerson Johnson, who is a like good friend of ours, put up his like new website, and I went to it, and I'm like, wow, like, when the hell did he have time? Like,
right.
When did he do this? And then, like, on our podcast later, I think Sean mentioned that it was a Squarespace site.
Oh, I did,
like,
yeah.
Oh, you did? Again. I'm like, well, okay, well, good. I guess it works.
Another, an Idle Thumbs reader, John Christensen, who actually is the person who painted that ridiculous painting of Chris as a Spelunky Lord, heard us talking about Squarespace, and he put up a portfolio of a bunch of his paintings, a lot of, like, cool adventure game art and stuff at, Christensen.dk. That's KRISTINSSON.dk. He he said he threw it together really quick.
Big JKO from the forums.
Yeah, it these sites look great on mobile immediately, just as part of their template. Like it's really nice service.
I'm looking at it on my phone right now, and it's just like a nice clean layout.
Yeah.
But then it looks like, obviously cool and more dynamic on the computer.
But if you have used Squarespace to put up a site that you think you'd want us to actually point people to because it's cool, it's a good example of Squarespace, just send it into us at questions@idlethumbs.net, and we'll use you as an example in a future plug for Squarespace, which is a cool service. Maybe. If it's really cool.
Don't just put like a bunch of turds on it. Like put real stuff on the website. And then...
If you make a Squarespace site that's got a bunch of turds on it, we'll also talk about that, but not inside of their ad.
Yeah, so what's the URL?
All right, if you go to squarespace.com/idlethumbs, use the promo code thumbs, you'll get 10% off your Squarespace and a free trial.
Cool.
Video games.
You're gonna have a good podcast, Nick, in my stead.
Yeah. Give me the talk.
Look, you're born to do this. You have it in your
That's
soul.
You were born to do this.
I'm good. You're right.
Huh,
That was a
desperate.
test print.
Oh, that's
You're born to pod. Look at you. You're one of the greats.
He died as he lived.
You know how excited the forums are going to be that you're on this podcast? Then I am not. Can I give you some advice about sitting in that corner? Yeah. Tuck your butt cheeks as far back into that corner as you can. No. Into the corner, not into the back. Yeah. And like your face, like Jake should be your 12 o'clock. Perfect.
Like you're saying, like a cheek on the armrest, a cheek on the cushion.
Do you like to sit Indian style? Oh, excuse me, crisscross applesauce.
Yeah.
I like to do that. I take my shoes off, and then I like to bring the mic in just wherever
This
I
just
need
sounds
to.
like or not Roger Stone, Burt
My
Cooper.
Burt Cooper. I aspire, seriously. Jake and I were talking about that, about sort of like, we were talking about.
I like
Oh, I mean, no. I mean, that's the one you want to be. That's the one you want to be, obviously. But, well, it depends on what season 7B of, because Sterling's like right now he's in a good trajectory. He's like stepping up to be a leader. But anyway, no, we're talking about how it's really hard to grow people at a game studio because you're just always making stuff, and it's hard to be like, oh, let me manage you and like grow talent. And I was like, yeah, one day I just want to be like the barefoot Burt Cooper, just walking around like, telling people that they're born to pod.
Video games.
We would also like to thank NatureBox. NatureBox is a snack subscription service that sends all kinds of assorted treats to your home or office. If you go to naturebox.com/thumbs, you will get half off your first NatureBox. So we got another. We've talked about NatureBox a couple times before, as you know, because we eat them all when they arrive. We got our third NatureBox like a week ago. I think it disappeared.
It was deleted immediately.
Like 2 days.
Man,
maybe?
this one had like fruit bars that are like Fig Newton style fruit bars.
Ooh.
Those,
Oh yeah,
I looked
didn't
at those.
get any of those. Those
I know.
went so fast.
Yeah, I looked at those and said those look really good. No one was opening them for a couple of days. Then they were open. I ate one, and I came back to work the next day, and it was empty, just like deleted, thrown away. So I don't even know what they're called. They were devoured so quickly.
The thing that I liked about this NatureBox, is that it contained 2 examples of the extreme end of what you can get
Of nature.
It's true. Well, maybe less so in some cases, but so it had
Yeah.
So my favorite thing that it had, these were so goddamn good, was the just straight up dried pineapple slices, to the point where the ingredient list just says pineapples. That's the only thing on the ingredient list of their pineapple slices things, and it's just a bag of ridiculously delicious dried pineapple. And then on the complete other end of the spectrum is I think as Sean put it, if you're worried that NatureBox doesn't include any stuff you like, if you like Doritos, their sriracha cashews are basically they're spicy, but they're basically just snack food.
Yeah,
and
it's
they're
an
super good
artisanal
also.
cashew Dorito,
Yeah,
basically, and not in a bad way.
No.
Those were eaten.
So the whole spectrum of possibilities was
yeah, there's
present.
when we first
for
they
us
first
this time.
sent them, I was like, oh, this is they got dried peas and
Mhm.
other dried crunchy stuff, but this one was a variety, weird fruit bars and pineapples and
Mhm. God, those pineapples were so
spicy
good.
nuts.
Those went super fast too, the pineapples. So yeah, if you go to naturebox.com/thumbs, you can get 50% off your first order.
and then you can eat them all like us.
Video games.
God, I had an awkward NatureBox story to tell, but
Wait.
I felt like we were going to go over the time, so I didn't tell.
No, let's hear
What
it.
is your awkward NatureBox story?
Oh, man.
What even is an awkward NatureBox?
Oh, it was really awkward. So there's this this girl Nicole who is a writer at Telltale Games, and so I had heard that another guy at Telltale who listens to Idle Thumbs
I think I met her
verifiably. I think you did because she was at Smuggler's Cove. But so
Yeah.
there's this other guy at Telltale who had ordered NatureBox because of the sponsorship on Idle Thumbs, and so I came in one morning and I saw NatureBox on her desk, and I know that she doesn't listen to Idle Thumbs, but I'm pretty sure her boyfriend does, or maybe
Uh-huh.
or I was at the time. I was like, oh, because he's really into games. He's like
Sure. Yeah.
whatever.
Like people who are into games do, they listen to Idle Thumbs.
Right? Yeah,
obviously.
of course. Which was so I was just in conversation. I was like, oh, you got that NatureBox, huh? And she's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, yeah, cool. Do you, where'd you hear about him? She was like, I don't know, my boyfriend ordered, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Does he listen to any podcasts? She was like,
so you just wanted to say, oh, did he listen to Idle Thoughts and hear it from the ad, but you couldn't.
But I didn't. No, I didn't want to say it. And finally, she was like, "Why are you being so weird about this?" And I was like, "Well, they're kind of a sponsor for this podcast."
Well, you might not know that I host this podcast.
And then she did the thing because Nicole is so funny, and she was just like, "Oh, that's nice." And then she's like, "No, it has nothing to do with that. We just like Nature Box." Of course, like normal people, we don't listen to your
notice that you have my sponsor on your desk. Excuse me. Silently turn around.
Do
you listen to Hulu or do you watch Hulu?
I thought you were when you started like explaining yourself, digging yourself deeper. I thought you were gonna go straight to like. So, what episode did you listen to?
Right. I'm Nick Brecken. Humber.com/Brecken.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Anyway.
Yeah, you did it.
I did. Sorry. Nicole, if you're listening, you're not listening.
You're not listening? Absolutely not.
Good. Thanks, Nick. Congrats, Nick.
You're welcome. Yeah.
We're back! Hey!
I hate games.
No.
I hate them.
No, but what about good ones? You said you played F.E.A.R.
I did play F.E.A.R.
What was the...
I just felt like playing some F.E.A.R. Anyway.
No. You wanted to talk about F.E.A.R. relative to the Forest, and I thought...
yeah. Well, I played F.E.A.R. and then I played the Forest in that order. But
had you played F.E.A.R. before, though, right?
Yeah. I can't remember why I started playing it. I think I saw somebody talk about how good the AI was in F.E.A.R. and I thought, I'll go back and play that because I can and I want to see if it was actually good. And it still holds up. It's not actually good AI. It's just they do really interesting things with
I think AI is such a like misguided thing to talk about in first person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the way people bad AI, like great AI, like
nobody knows what it means.
Just make the game fun. Like do the thing you need to do to make the game fun. Like AI is not a solved problem. Like that's not a thing.
No
one's gonna solve.
There is no AI. When there is, then we will not be playing games. We'll be crushed by robot feet. Like, I mean,
you have smartly scripted enemies, like, right? I guess, or who cares? Even,
it seems like they're just scripted to. I mean, not in hindsight, it seems like they're just scripted to take weird pathing routes because, like, at certain points, they'll take weird paths around like GDC, doors that you just wouldn't expect them to take, which just seems like good AI.
Makes it seem good, yeah. Like,
but it's surprising.
I've seen talks at GDC and like read papers and not papers, but like read posts and stuff from developers talking about. Well, and seen some of these things from like within studios, like about how players can be convinced that AI is better than it actually is, because in reality it's not AI.
Yeah.
Not in the way people. I think like just some person thinks it is when they say AI.
He sat there and thought about which way would be.
It's a learning computer.
By just doing things like. And if they call out what they're about to do with Barks, people think the AI is better,
right?
Even if it's literally identical.
It's like it thought to do a thing, then it did it,
right?
Yeah, but in reality, it's like that's just Chrome. It's just
that's like the soldiers in Half-Life 1 would actually sort of kind of
and F.E.A.R. is just 100% doing that. It's just like flank him, and then they just take a weird path. They just take it.
But like honestly, it's so rare that I find that makes a huge difference. That like quality of AI, so to speak, actually makes a huge difference on my experience playing the game. It's so rare that it like, unless
F.E.A.R.
it's
was
really
one of the
abysmal.
rare
No,
times.
F.E.A.R. totally was.
Yeah.
I mean, F.E.A.R. just had really like just good combat scripting.
Yeah, and it's just also like I don't know. It's weird.
And
it's
Halo.
weird.
Halo is one of the.
I haven't played a game from that
Halo
era in a long time.
Like really good to me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I haven't played a game from that era in a really long time. It was weird to see how, just obvious its level design was, where like you'll walk into a room and there are just clearly four big chunks.
Arena, you've got your,
it looks like a Mario Kart battle arena, but you're
just like you're walking into the lobby in the Matrix. You're like, okay, clips are going to be slammed into guns. And they're going to drop out of them in slow motion in a few minutes. Like,
that also was a totally like post Matrix game.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing that struck me. I was like, oh my god, you just do a jump kick, like, which is a great mechanic, but like. this is just the lobby scene, and some guy saying, well, just use this as the reference, and then they made that game, which is fine.
But they did a really good job with
it.
it.
They did a better job than almost anybody from that era.
What did that have to do with the forest?
Just that it seemed like it was trying to accomplish similar AI patterns in the sense that guys will just run around and do surprising things, but it's clearly not intelligent. It's just they're just doing things very quickly in atypical patterns.
The thing that I wanted to talk about in reference to you bringing up F.E.A.R. is that I played a bunch of Wolfenstein The New Order last night. I like the game a lot. I really like the game. Oh, have you played it?
Well, I mean, I played it back in back when I was working at Bethesda.
Oh, right, of course.
So I have a really weird
what did you think of it,
mental image
when it was in development.
I mean, I really shouldn't talk, but it was really way too early for me to judge at the time.
Sure.
Yeah. When I played it, I was like, oh man, clearly they're trying to do a lot of stuff, and some of this stuff just doesn't work yet. Like it felt like very like they were trying to take the sort of Starbreeze mentality and put it into a Wolfenstein game, and it felt like they just hadn't quite figured out how to make that gel yet. But it seems like they did.
I feel like they definitely did,
which is cool. I'm really glad.
I like it so much, and the reason I wanted to talk. Well, I wasn't previously planning about talking about it in relation to F.E.A.R., but now since you brought up F.E.A.R., the thing I like about it is how unpretentious it feels. It's like it is like skating the line of having too much like sad protagonist cutscene in it for its own good. You know what I mean? Like it is right there, but it like they're so short. Like those moments are like are at least
when the tears of Blazkowicz drop.
At least how far I am in the game now. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if that gets worse or whatever. But like the amount I've played so far, when I come out of a gameplay segment, I have enjoyed myself enough that like they've bought themselves like 20 seconds of like whatever they do. Sometimes it goes on longer than that, obviously, but like it's on top of a game where you're collecting like helmets and shit that just bump your armor up, and health that allows you to go up beyond 100 health.
Oh man,
and,
so
like,
it's
back down over time.
It's Wolfensteining. Fully,
it's weird, but it's one of the
F.E.A.R. does that too. I mean, I was surprised playing F.E.A.R. actually because I did not remember that about F.E.A.R. But it is just to pick up armor and pick up health and then shoot a bunch of guys.
Yeah,
my memory of F.E.A.R. is not that. My memory of F.E.A.R. is like weird psychological shooter with like weird in-game cutscene discussions, and it's just when you get into the game, it's just Wolfenstein.
I mean. Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein obviously has more of the like sad protagonist cutscene stuff than, especially like at big act changes and stuff than like any of those old school games did, or than F.E.A.R. does, or anything. But like for a modern AAA action game where that stuff seems to be like just required now, like Wolfenstein The New Order like feels like just the whole experience of it, like the entirety of playing it, feels so much less fatiguing to me. Like it just feels like the stuff that's in the game is the stuff that's relevant to what this game is. Like the fact that they're making a game about an alternate past in which the Third Reich actually conquers the world, I'm like, okay, this is a scenario that like I will give you that you need to sell some amount of human drama here, because it that would be such a like massively consequential event, right? Which like to me that's more significant than like the just very abstract, the entire like the world's gonna blow up or like exterminate a species or something, like just the very like weird high concept kind of stakes that
it's
are
steeped
common
in
in
actual
modern
specifics
blockbusters
in this case, though.
yeah exactly. It's like, okay, yes, I know what World War II is. What if that kept going? It's like it's pretty dumb. Like it's not like it's not like a scholarly examination of that premise, but the world building is really good. Like I understand why this former Starbreeze leads are people who made this game. Like the world is sold well to me. The music is really good. Both the like original score, which I love. I love the original score in this game, and then also the like recreated pop music that that they like. The weird, goofy. What if '60s music was?
Oh, did they end up
in
doing
German?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Was
It's
that talked
enjoyment.
about in?
That was
at
one
a
of the
time?
very first things I heard about it. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
No, they did it. It sounds really good. And
I wonder if that was pushed over the top to being approved because people noticed all the weird pop music in Bioshock Infinite.
Oh,
That's funny. Yeah, because for a while I don't think we were, Bethesda was going to do it.
I mean, they
Just
did.
simply because of
It's been a big part of the marketing.
that's cool.
Yeah, it's been in a lot of
That's
trailers
really
and
cool.
stuff. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me to like. It's hard for me to explain why this game is working so well for me. I'm kind of struggling to like give like a big reason. It's just that it feels like most of the stuff in the game doesn't feel obnoxious for being in it. Like, you know what I mean? Which in a AAA game at this point is just so rare. I'm so accustomed to playing a AAA game that is either like weirdly undirectedly ambitious, where it's like, it's gonna have so many elements, it's gonna draw all this stuff in, but it doesn't cohere
So you're
into like one thing.
You're enjoying it without having to feel like you're like either ignoring or sweeping a bunch of perfunctory
Yes,
stuff out of the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then nor am I kept on such a tight leash that I don't feel like I'm even playing it, like a lot of Call of Duty games or something, right? Like it just feels like just playing a video game. It just feels like, okay,
Are there
I'm gonna
actual
play a video
spaces in this game
now.
that you can wander around
Yeah,
in a way
there's-
that's not just going
Yes,
down the
definitely. Like there was a level where you're like clearing out a kind of Nazi bunker like complex to let these like characters who you know in the story like drive through safely because they're like elderly people and they
Right.
And the first time I did that level, I started to run it. I just like ran in and started shooting and like was killing guys. And then I just had to go. Like I had to actually just physically leave. I couldn't.
Right.
I had to stop playing the game. So I just quit the game. I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'll just come back and do this again. And then when I came back the second time, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna stealth this. And I had a silencer upgrade for my pistol, and I like went through an underground thing, and I did that entire like checkpoint section without being spotted. And I'm like, that's cool. Like it's like an open courtyard area with multiple structures, an underground part. There's like ladders and staircases that go up and around. There are only like 8 to 10 enemies in the entire thing. So it would have been totally feasible to just attack them head on, because this is the kind of game where you can easily take on 10 enemies at once. I was playing on the normal difficulty level. And, but I'm like, I'm just gonna go for it. And it felt like the right modulation of like lightweight stealth, right? They have the sneak up and knife a guy move that a lot of games have now, right?
Classic knife a guy.
You know what I'm talking about, like a kill move.
Yeah.
They have that.
A what, Chris?
The kill move. They have silenced pistol, but it's not.
The kill move, silenced pistol,
It's what it's in this game. It's a video game.
knife a guy.
It's a video game.
I know.
And
Just the way that you're saying them is really funny to me. Sorry.
and it's like it doesn't feel like a badly implemented stealth game inside their game. It just feels like the level design and the tools available to you. In certain cases in the game, it's possible to just be stealthier than you are normally, right? And like that's how I felt playing Burial at Sea Part 2, the Bioshock Infinite DLC, where like they didn't like redesign a stealth game. They're just like, here are some things that make stealth and like a little more feasible, and that's it. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes you just have to fight a bunch of guys. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You're not bullshitting yourself about what your game is. You're just letting me be a little different from time to time. And I'm totally fine with that. And to play the game normally just feels like I'm playing a classic game where you just shoot a bunch of guys. And I know that to listen to me on the podcast, that doesn't sound like a kind of thing I would enjoy a lot of the time. But if you're not obnoxious about it, I'm totally fine with it. And to play this game, it's like, this is a game where they're selling the world well. The mechanics feel really tight. You have like goofy dual wielding assault rifles and pistols and stuff. Like it's, I don't know. It just comes together. It doesn't feel like it's top heavy or like obnoxious. Like this is basically the kind of attitude I want people to take.
It's the New Order.
If they're gonna make like a big shooty AAA game, I'm like, yeah, just like
the Fourth Reich of
do
games.
it like this. Look, this is fine, right? I don't know. I really like this game. I'm gonna keep playing this game.
Cool.
I'm really surprised by how much I enjoy it. It's like a relief to not feel like I'm just bogged down in like over design and just all this shit that I feel like afflicts so many modern AAA games.
It cracks me up that they made the main character look like the pixel art from Wolfenstein 1. I can't quite deal with it. I kind of hate it, but it's really funny.
It's weird. It's weird.
Do you
'cause-
see him in cutscenes? Is this a game that has?
Yes.
So you see just
He's
like
the most,
Squareface
like,
McBeef
Aryan
chin.
fucking like beef man McBeef you've ever seen. It is weird. That's another thing that's weird about this game relative to a lot of AAA
He doesn't even
games
look that
now.
beefy in any rendering of him other than that little HUD drawing in Wolfenstein 1.
In this game, in the actual like
In this
model,
game, he's
character
just
model,
like...
that's a weird thing because his name was Blaskovich, and like I always sort of just assumed he was supposed to be at least half Jewish based on like the name and the theme of the game. I'm like, that's got to be part of the point of it. In this game, he just seriously looks like uber Aryan, fucking American.
Well, he's that name goes back a long ways at this point. He's sort of, it's just, his,
Well, people bring it up in the game all the time. Like people are constantly using that name.
I know. I just mean like his. You're judging him aesthetically, but he's gone. We have Nazis in space in this game, right? So like he's
I'm not judging him. It's just a funny thing to see. Like it's weird. The reason I was bringing it up is because it's the kind of modern AAA template for male protagonist is either like stubbly, kind of shaved-headed, middle-aged guy, or kind of young mopey guy with like a hoodie. You know what I mean? Like this guy's not better than that. They're all kind of just stupid. Like they're all just kind of.
He's just more like
trite.
an '80s version of
This
that.
this is just the '80s. Like this is just the default thing if it's the '80s.
Right.
I don't know. Like I don't like. It's stupid. It's not like that. It's good or bad. It's just nothing. But like the actual game part, I really like a lot.
You don't like just looking at BJ Blazkowicz's
I mean, it's like
face?
it communicates nothing, right? Like it's.
Don't
just
you
like
look at him
big,
and then just
beefy guy.
imagine how he was allegedly in continuity Commander Keen's grandpa or whatever? Isn't that the case?
Yeah.
Commander
that is the case.
Commander Keen is like Billy Blaze
Yeah,
Blazkowicz.
because like, so BJ Blazkowicz, the guy from the original Wolfenstein 3D, his son becomes like a radio DJ or presenter or something, and like adopts the last name Blaze because it's like
Right.
an easier to market.
I didn't know this
like,
part.
DJ name.
Or
and
if I did on
and
an old
then
episode, I
that
forgot
guy's
it.
son is like Billy Blaze, the actual guy from Commander Keen.
What you just said sounded like the Spider-Man trading card. You should have read it in that voice.
He became a different person.
He became
entirely.
a different person.
Commander Keen.
Commander Keen.
But in the Spider-Man card, it would be like Doom Marine. It would Doom. He became a different
Right.
person entirely.
Yeah.
Doom Guy. Doom Guy is just called Doom Guy, apparently.
Yeah.
Officially, I guess.
Yeah.
That's good.
Nick
Anyway,
would know. Is he Doom guy?
Probably.
JP would know.
JP would know. Definitely. Yes.
No.
Anyway, I'm really enjoying this Wolfenstein game. It's cool. I like it.
Cool. We have reader mail?
Yes, we do.
It's time for reader mail.
Yeah.
No, I've actually knocked my microphone.
He's ruining his microphone.
If you have a question for us, write us at questions@idlethumbs.net. While I adjust my microphone that I've now ruined.
So Andrew Van Herrick writes, "Player responsibility in Watch Dogs."
Is this going to be a takedown of our Watch Dogs conversation?
Hopefully. Just listening to the podcast this week, I'm an English teacher who's been analyzing and overanalyzing this stuff for too long. I finally felt the urge to write in. I spent a lot of college half reading texts and sharing opinions about them. I think this Watchdog discussion is off, though, not because it's without experience, but because of presumptions players are making as well. Watch Dogs matters to me because it's the first major game while set in my city, even if I'm more of a suburban brat. But it also matters because it's doing something different. I've been tooling around in the game for a few hours, and I admit I accidentally ran over a person. Cars are hard. But I have not shot at anyone. I tried dropping a crane load on a guy in the first infiltration mission, but died soon after. In my canon run-through, which I have a little trouble excusing the open-world existence from since it is more a passageway than a story beat, I've not killed anyone yet. I'm on mission 3, so I'm sure there could be loads of murdering that happened, but not yet. On that infiltration mission, I tried many of the usual methods of stealthing around until I realized I could hack into a camera feed, another from there, hack a security guy, dig into the encrypted system with his key, and neither kill nor alert anyone that I was even there. I was literally one step inside the compound, hiding behind a box this whole time. It's not terribly new, but the context is the promise of this game, our connected world as a victimless weapon. The game may force me to shoot and murder. It makes you buy an automatic weapon before that mission. Sure, it may decide the best use of mechanics is forcing me to integrate them, but that's the joy here. Since I chose to make Watch Dogs the game I wanted it to be, I felt better about the experience. I could make all the choices to turn this game into GTA 5 with an iconic cap, but I wanted something more and took it. I felt like the gamerati deciding to deride what could have been without acknowledging the potential of what is a problem. It's a cynicism that disturbs me. Play the game. It's got some interesting stuff to it. Cheers, Andrew. P.S. Why does Chicago have mountains surrounding it and Wrigleyville appears to be underwater? I don't know. Anyway, I thought it'd be good to
He's in
read
the Matrix.
a response to some of our Watch Dogs stuff.
Yeah, no, that's good. I know.
Did you guys?
I followed you guys all. You follow Bennett Foddy on Twitter, right? The developer of
Yeah.
Quap and Sports Friends. He was tweeting a bunch as he was playing Watch Dogs, and he had the same response as Andrew for a ton of it. But then I think he got like 5 or 6 hours in and said, "Whoops! Now I actually have to kill people, or
I
the
saw
game
that.
won't let me progress." But it sounds like there is a
Sure.
if you deliberately force the game to be engaged on these terms, you can get a ways into it.
Yeah. So that's cool. I'm glad to hear that. So we, actually, here, let's read this.
You skirting around Waluigi for a second?
Yeah, because there's a bunch of it, so I want to make sure I accurately gauge how much email to read here. Chris McQuinn
Before
says,
it's Waluigi time.
Chris McQuinn says, "Hi Thumbs, I've loved the show for eons. You're swell folks. I have a comment about a recent show where there was an insinuation that puns in games were of less noble quality than those done in face-to-face conversation. I wanted to offer another perspective on puns in games. At our studio during development, everyone will put in placeholder game conversations on a whim while carrying out another task, and this usually ends up being final game conversation. This is almost an asynchronous conversation that is occurring between team members. Our games are often pun-heavy, and these are not created in a meeting but on the fly while someone is coding a boss fight or designing a puzzle. The puns aren't discovered by the rest of the studio until someone happens to play through that section, and the surprise and punniness of the moment is often fresh because it does feel in the moment as though it appeared in a conversation. I would caution against developers refraining from using puns that are created in this manner because the results can be awesome in my opinion. I included an example. During the creation of the Jaguar Javier boss fight in Guacamelee, Alex, our programmer, was exhausted from coding and decided to make a randomizer of cat puns that appear every time the player punches the defeated boss. I've attached a picture of all the possible pun outcomes. And to say this is one of the funnier Easter eggs the game has, and was certainly not created artificially. Keep up the top-notch work, Chris M. Drinkbox Studios. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're making a game where that is what the world feels like, that's totally, that kind of thing is totally appropriate. Like, a thing this reminds me of is I was reading an interview about or a preview or something about Costume Quest 2, which Double Fine is working on right now. And I liked Costume Quest a lot, and I think I'm excited to play another Costume Quest game. And one of the costumes in Costume Quest 2 is candy corn, and the just sort of inherent joke of, so I mean, if you guys know the concept of Costume Quest, it's that these kids are going trick or treating on Halloween, and then they encounter these crazy troll monster things, and you basically play kind of JRPG style turn-based combat where the kids don their Halloween costumes and sort of transform in their imaginations into the things that they're dressed up as, like a crazy unicorn or
a giant transformer,
like an animated Statue of Liberty or whatever. And one of the costumes in Costume Quest 2 apparently is candy corn, and it just does literally nothing. Your character is 100% ineffectual while wearing the candy corn costume. It's just a joke costume. And apparently every single time, so you have a party of 3, and when you're playing in a turn-based combat in the game, and it gets to the character's turn, it would be who's wearing candy corn, it just says something like, candy corn's going to sit this one out, and it just skips that player, and that's it. That's their whole turn. And apparently in the interview they said Double Fine wants there to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 lines that can be randomly
for the candy corn skip turn,
for the candy corn skip corn. Yeah,
the candy corn skip corn.
One of them was candy corn has nothing to prove, and then it's a skip, just stuff like that, right? And that's similarly also from Double Fine, I guess. I guess as a studio I know very well for obvious reasons. In Broken Age Part 1, when very early in Shay's world, which is the boy character in that game, you go through this kind of daily routine, and one of the things you do is eat your morning cereal, and your mother ship AI thing offers you these kinds of cereal, and you can keep declining the cereal she offers you, and as long as you keep declining, the game will keep just suggesting new kinds of space themed cereal.
You get 20 cereals,
Cinnamoons, and you go through dozens of these things, and it's you keep thinking it's going to run out, and then it keeps suggesting another name, and the joke is in the kind of extreme repetition of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that like, and this person who wrote in talked about like basically just
Every
The
time you
random
hit this
pun-
boss, you get another crazy
you get
joke.
like another cat pun, right? Like cat. So I mean, yeah, if I don't think that stuff can't work at all. I mean, obviously, like there's not really anything that can't work in any game. It just has to make sense in the
Turret sequences.
turret sequences. God, I didn't talk about this with Wolfenstein. The reason it took me like what two games been out for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
The reason it took me so long to play that game is because I like the day it came out. I started playing it with Ali Moss actually, and we sat there and we played through the beginning of that game, and it was so boring. It was just the like run to the thing, like click on the thing, turn off the engine, like run here. Oh no, scripted sequence. Oh my god, turret. Like it's just the shittiest version of a
Did it literally
tutorial.
open with the turret sequence?
No, it opens with a like run here, run there, run there.
Because I was going to say the only way that it seems like you could justify a turret sequence at the very beginning of a game like that is because you want to teach someone the look mechanic without teaching them the move mechanic. But if you have
but
them
you
move
learn
and
all
look
that stuff
first,
first.
and then you
Yeah.
put them in a turret,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah, what's the point? It's just I don't know. I hate that stuff. And what's weird is that there are a lot of modern first person shooters, especially kind of big cinematic kind of action game style shooters, where all that stuff you do at the beginning of Wolfenstein would be totally appropriate training, right? Like there are a lot of modern shooters that are just you're basically on rails. You're basically going through a bunch of like QuickTime events and turret sequences. That's not what this game is. Like once you actually get into the game, it's like a fairly classic style shooter with like really good level design and like fun encounters. And all that stuff at the beginning is just totally irrelevant to what the entire rest of the game is. And so
Sweet.
yeah, and it was weird. So it was I think the beginning of that game is quite poor, but it's okay because I ended up going back to it and I had to play through it again because I did that first part at home or at the office and then I went back at home.
You had to play your favorite part twice.
Yeah,
you
which
got
is-
to. Excuse me.
But I mean, yeah, after that, once you're actually in the game part, it's really good.
Cool.
Yeah.
This one's for Nick.
What is it? Which one?
No, I just wanted Nick to respond to a reader.
Hey,
Hey.
I love turret
Dear
sequences.
Nick, let me tell you the origins of Waluigi. No, I don't know if we're ready for that yet.
Well, here's one real quick that I can answer. Jordan Pearson says, "Is Jake singing one of the harmonies in the new theme song?" Thanks, Jordan from Ontario. No.
I'm not, but Justin McElroy of My Brother, and
That's
Me
true.
is.
That's true. He was one of the very first people to send in community like backup vocals. Was Justin McElroy from My Brother, and Me and Polygon. He was a really awesome guy. I'm sure most of you listening know who he is. He's in there. So is David Pittman.
Ian
who-
McKellen. No. Yeah.
So is David Pittman, who's making who made
Neonstruct.
Eldritch and is now making Neonstruct, which is the fortunately renamed
Yeah.
title of a game that was previously called Die Ogenderwelt or something.
Yeah, now it's called Neonstruct.
Yeah, it's like a
I was
crazy
really, really
Deus
glad
Ex.
when he renamed that game.
What?
I was so glad when he
I
renamed
know, me too.
Oh.
I've talked about it on the podcast a bit, but you probably don't remember what I was talking about because the name is so crazy. But now it's called Neonstruct, which totally sounds like the kind of
it. Sounds like the
cyberpunk
game.
thing that is
Yeah.
what it is. So that's good. I think Die
It looks
Ogenderwelt
cool.
is still the subtitle,
Yeah.
It looks very
which is fine. You want people to be able to
Yeah,
search
yeah.
for it still.
Yeah.
So now we have like a suite of emails about Waluigi that I
That's
guess I'll
fine.
just start reading. I don't know.
It feels like in honor of the ode to Waluigi last week, I think people were now explaining, because we read that Waluigi poem, and because we all watched Waluigi get destroyed by Luigi repeatedly in GIF form,
Yeah.
we were given a lot of Waluigi information.
So the first one is a request, but this one will be quick. This is from Matthew Merced. Good evening, gentlemen. Would it be possible for you to get Alex Ashby to read the Ode to Waluigi? That would be super great. On a side note, whenever you read someone's email reading Ethnic Brecken, I hear Ethnic Brecken, and strange images flash through my brain. Am I the only one who hears that?
No.
No.
Thanks. Keep up the great work and look forward to Firewatch, Matt from Long Island. So I mainly wanted to read this because I want it on the record that we should get Alex Ashby to read the Ode to Waluigi.
That seems fine.
Because, I don't know, why wouldn't we? It's sort of written in intended Shakespearean style.
And Alex is a noted Shakespearean actor.
He was sort of born in Shakespearean style. Yeah.
He might as well. Yeah, exactly. His
So you hear
his voice was composed in.
Yeah.
you hear
Shakespearean
ethnic Brecken a
mode.
lot, Nick?
Yeah. No, I don't. I've heard that before, though. Many people apparently hear that.
Just something real quick here before we go to the next thing. I think I should probably Google ethnic Brecken in quotes and just see
That's fine.
see what we get.
Go for it.
You can prepare yourself for Waluigi.
I'm fully prepared.
I don't know if you are.
You don't know if I'm prepared?
No,
What would make you think I'm not?
I read it already.
What? What does that mean?
I'm just saying. Read it, Chris.
Nick's you're being weird.
There are 3 results for Ethnic Brecken. One is a tweet that says, at Nick Brecken, Ethnic Brecken, ha 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 ha. There's one from a website called Talking Time. It says, Baboo Season 2, Idle Thumbs is back. And then it says, then I realized something. It was the original Idle Thumbs trio, Chris, Jake, and Ethnic Brecken. And then someone on the Something Awful forums says, I am literally incapable of not thinking Ethnic Brecken. And evoking an incredibly insensitive mental image.
Well,
Yep.
now so none of the rest of us either.
Should have stopped the line earlier. I didn't know that was going until I kept reading it and then went,
All right. So Ben Beebe writes, Waluigi Origins. Hey, Thumbs. I don't know if you've discussed this in the past, but I wanted to share the creation of the much-beloved Waluigi. First off, Waluigi's creation stems from Wario needing a doubles partner in Mario Tennis for the N64. Most of the cast had sensible partners to team up with based on relationships and allegiances in past games. But Wario
had no one, so he was
wolf.
created.
Designer Fumihide Aoki proposed the creation of Waluigi to Shigeru Miyamoto, and they began designing the character. It should be noted that Wario and Waluigi's names stem from the Japanese word warui, meaning bad. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The idea for a Warui version of Peach, Warupichi, was considered but later dismissed by Miyamoto. Lastly, I want to share.
She exists on DeviantArt.
Yes. Lastly, I want to share this excerpt from the Mario Wiki regarding the unconfirmed relation of Wario and Luigi. While Waluigi is Luigi's answer to Mario's rival Wario, the exact relationship between Wario and Waluigi is somewhat ambiguous. Various resources state that they are brothers, such as the European Mario Kart DS site, which calls Waluigi Wario's weird sibling in the information for the Waluigi pinball track. On the other hand, one of the trivia notes of the DS version of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games states that Waluigi and Wario are actually cousins, and Waluigi's Super Smash Bros. Melee trophy says that him being related to Wario is unconfirmed. Charles Martinet, who voices both characters, claims that they are just two evil guys who found each other, and Wario refers to him as his, quote, traitor friend in Mario Super Sluggers. While the two sometimes bicker, overall their relationship is a positive one, sharing good chemistry in the baseball games and often teaming up in sports events and in Mario Kart Double Dash. As for my question, when will Waluigi achieve video fame? Keep up the great work, Thumbs. Ben Beebe, pronounced BB. Oh, sorry, Ben Beebe. Well, obviously the answer to that is this week. This week.
Wario has achieved his video fame as the target of Luigi's scorn, though.
Yeah, well...
He takes what he can get. He was created to give an existing character a partner in tennis. So, Waluigi's video fame starts now.
Yeah.
Finally, George Leek writes, Walupedia. Hi, Thumbs. Long time, first time. After your recent discussions about Waluigi, who is the worst, I was bored at work and looked him up on Wikipedia. There are some real gems on that page that if you already haven't seen, you need to know. Here are my favorite fact-Luigis. Oof. Charles Martinet, the Walu... Oh my god, he's got to quit this. Charles Martinet, the voice of Waluigi, described him as someone who has a lot of self-pity, so would cheat to win. Waluigi's self-pity is a recurring theme on his wiki page, a fact that does nothing for Waluigi's self-esteem. His name is a portmanteau of the Japanese word bad, warui, okay, yeah, and the name of Luigi, hence a bad Luigi. I live in Japan, so I can exclusively reveal that warui is the Japanese word for bad. Unfortunately, not an exclusive reveal on this episode of Idle Thumbs.
Sorry, this is the Waluigi episode.
Martinet says that Waluigi always feels like everything goes right for everyone but him, hence his deep wells of self-pity. In any ball game, Waluigi has the ability to summon a body of water and swim towards the ball, a trait described by IGN as baffling, IGN.com. He is the same age as Luigi. Martinet does not know if Wario and Waluigi are brothers, but he does believe they are two nice evil guys who found each other, so this is clearly known. He's the main antagonist in Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix. He plans to...
What?
Okay, this...
This is where the Waluigi Puppet Master came from. Has to be.
Yes. Well, I don't know if it is where it came from, but it is definitely proves that should be made. He plans to hypnotize the world with his dancing in order to cause chaos.
He needs to be in Smash Brothers.
Yes. Yeah, he really does.
'Cause Luigi's dance, like when Luigi gets the Smash Ball in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, he does this weird like psychedelic dance where he sort of
that
twirls around.
weird thing.
So imagine if
Yeah.
Waluigi also was in this game and had his like fucking dark Waluigi version of that, his really
Where
dark, like his dark
causes
past.
people to go bonkers disco dancing
Yeah.
or something. Yeah. Masahiro Sakurai, the director of Smash Brothers, stated that Waluigi is not a playable fighter, saying, "Just because you try hard doesn't mean you'll make it into battle. This does nothing for Waluigi's self-esteem."
No,
Oh,
crushed my hopes
he's
immediately.
just always in the
Here follows-
audience of every Smash Brawl.
Here
Just
follows
sad.
some choice quotes from the reception section of the wiki page. Taking note that one particular editor seems to have a special dislike of Waluigi. All right, here we go. Quote, "One of the most unimportant characters in video game history, Game Daily." Quote, "Lame-o villain, Games Radar." Quote, "Waluigi, the worst character ever, Henry Gilbert of Games Radar." His creation was, quote, "plunging to the bottom of the intellectual barrel, Henry Gilbert of Games Radar." Quote, "disgustingly tall and thin, Henry Gilbert of Games Radar." Quote, "less than legitimate, Henry Gilbert of Games Radar." And finally, "feature in the list of 10 video game characters who look like sex offenders, Complex 2013. I don't know what Waluigi did to help
That
Henry
list did
Gilbert
nothing
of
for
Games
his
Radar,
self-esteem either.
but it seems clear to me that many of Waluigi's feelings of self-pity and general low self-esteem can probably be traced back to Gilbert, who may ultimately be the true villain of Nintendo's Mario Brothers series of video games. He has also described Wario as a fat ass. I hope you've enjoyed these facts as much as I did. Huge fan, love the podcast. Fuck Nick, have a great day. Good. Kind regards, George Leak. Man,
Yeah.
I've learned more about Waluigi than I thought it was possible to learn about Waluigi.
I know. I did not know that this many Waluigi facts existed. Now I know. Now I really want Waluigi in the new Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
know that it's not going to happen apparently
Yeah.
because the creator of Smash Brothers just
Just because you feel sorry for yourself
throws out
doesn't mean you get a spot with, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Oof.
Man.
Fucking. Never mind. Is that it?
I think that might be it.
That's probably everything.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast.
Yes, Jake? Do you have something to say?
Oh, I wanted to thank NatureBox for sponsoring this episode of Idle Thumbs. NatureBox is a snack subscription service that sends delicious snacks to your home or office. If you visit naturebox.com/thumbs, you get 50% off your first box. Thanks, NatureBox.
Thanks.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome.
You shut it down.
I did.
You're welcome.
Nick is welcome. Anytime on Idle Thumbs.
At idlethumbs.net/idlethumbs.
Write us at questions@idlethumbs.net.
Yeah, that's all you should do. I actually want to know if you agree with this or not. This might
Okay.
not be for the podcast or not, but like I can see where it's coming from, but I'm not entirely sure if I agree.
Okay.
I got a text from Dana apropos of nothing in the middle of the day a couple days ago
Yeah.
that said, "I feel like the center of the Venn diagram of Jeff Goldblum's and Barack Obama's speech patterns is larger than you may think."
Huh. I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think that's a
that's an
astute
accurate observation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I made a slight Goldblum noise, and then I was like, my brain went.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's like they definitely
There's
definitely big-
Yeah,
It's like
there's
the
that, there's that
pause
the
patterning
us.
is
Yeah,
like
It's the us.
and the deliberateness.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, the deliberateness while you're also feeling like the sentence is being formed on the fly in pieces.
Yeah. Exactly. But without filler.
Right.
You know, because everyone forms their sentences on the fly, but most
Goldblum's
people.
got some filler.
That's true.
He goes
That's true. Yeah. I feel like Obama has a version of that too, though. It's just not as nerdy weirdness.
It's not as awesome.
Yeah. But no, I think that's really a good point.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So that was our closing fact of this episode.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. They had like Fig Newton type ones that were really good, but the
They're
box.
pig Newtons, Daddy.
Huh!